thought that was a
really
cool year.
deck.
But I think this year
Horrible
was
spread.
rough, and I think it was Whiplash from the previous year
just
too.
gonna go do
Necros
my
released, and they were a
dailies
top
now.
deck. Even they were tier 0 on
Forever.
release. They got hits
I don't
really
actually
quick,
feel
and
like
it didn't
testing
matter.
on
They
the
were
new
still
alpha.
played, like
Yeah.
they kept
all the decks that
raining
I
good,
like
and until the very end
fucking
of
suck,
2015,
man.
when we did get to finally what I think is a good format. If you remember when we played that video, for
Or maybe it's like a
Dave's
Yu-Gi-Oh
channel,
situation.
and I played like
I'm
Madolche,
technically
that
not
was from the
doing
end
anything
of
wrong.
2015. I think that the last 3 months of 2015.
It's just bad luck. You wanna know something? I was never taught safety on scissors. And today's a daily reminder of why you should teach your kids safety on scissors. Thankfully, I already sanitized it. It was only skin deep. Thankfully. Thank God. Ugh. But damn, those are very sharp scissors. just gonna fucking at-tor you with that as a non sequitur. I probably should have taken off my clothes. They're a little wet now. I was afraid I'd touch my injury and it might hurt. It'll dry off soon enough. You're not sure. Let me go open up YG Omega.
2015, I think we're very diverse and very fun. But
was the
What the
pendulum
actual
structure
fuck?
deck, the magician stuff, was that end of 2015 or was that end of 2016?
I think it was
not
end
end
of
of
2015.
end of 2015. It was end of 2015.
So we had magicians
Yeah,
before
because-
Pepe?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Does that
what they
sound right?
needed
Okay.
was Pendy Sork and friends.
So there was like Draco Pals, which I think some people call Pepe, but like it was like primarily it was just Luster. You had Plush Fire and a couple other
Yeah.
random things, and then they got the Magician structure deck, and then you started playing the Wisdom Eye and the Oath Dragon and the Vanilla
Let me go
Monsters,
play Alpha.
and then and we're headed into that year here.
I'm taking
in
out Scissorhands and
2016,
seeing how
first
it feels.
set Bosch, and that changed everything.
To be clear, with respect to this format, I think it sucked that Necros was as good as it was for as long as it was. It also sucked in the same way Snake Eyes sucked, which we'll talk about when we get to like 2023, 2024, where by the end of it, it was just like 1-1-1-1-1-1,
this
like
is
all
the
the
wrong
pieces
one.
you could play. So games
Well,
felt like really
I already
frustrating
queued
based on
in,
if your
it would
opponent
be
had
pretty
access to a bunch
rude
of
to just
stupid
immediately
one-ups that they
surrender.
refused to hit.
It's
And it was
a-
so expensive, man. This is the period in which I refer to all the time, the people on Zodiac were teaching each other how to take out a reverse mortgage to afford Necros. They were like, it'll pay for itself with your locals winnings. It was fantastic.
I mean, I remember going to Walmarts and buying out all Secret Forces, which I know nowadays is really looked down upon because Pokemon and scalping, blah, blah, blah. But just to try and rip them and pull those Bryonics. For those of you that were not playing at this time, Bryonic, and this eventually would happen with Engage as well, Bryonic was
It's still
$90
bleeding.
for 6 months.
Piss.
And Valk, these are both 3 ofs that we're talking about here, was $60. So just between those two cards, you're looking at half a band. It was just ridiculous.
One of the most
Like,
expensive
insane.
decks of all time. It was like 2015 money also. And
Yeah, adjusted
the
for
pull
Oh,
rates
I
on
just
these.
realized they didn't do anything.
They've changed how it works with respect to pull rates, but wasn't it like you would get a Bryonic every like case or something ridiculous?
Yeah, so this
It like-
was called short printing, which they legally do not do anymore for core sets, but from what I
main sets,
understand, they still short print side sets.
But short printing secrets is a lot different than like,
Well, because they've changed how deck building sets
Joke's
work
on you,
over the
I
last
don't play
several years,
Scissorhands.
and deck building sets now really struggle to maintain value. But back in the day, deck building sets often had a short printed $100 secret rare. So like,
Yep.
is one way better than the other? I don't know. Hard to say.
I mean, we're kind of there just now. I mean, Albaz the White, isn't that thing like almost $100 or something?
he's down.
But
He's
that's a
about $60
core
right
set.
now,
Oh,
which is
okay.
probably where he should land anyway.
So the problem
he's a crazy
was-
good card.
you would like open a case and pull like 10 copies of every secret, and then maybe
One
two
Brio.
Brio, maybe
No,
two
you could
Valk.
get a Ritual Beast core per Brionac, like a core. It was
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
absurd.
basically, yeah. Yosenju was in there too,
Yep.
so yeah.
Yeah.
So 2015 competitively, Doug, just the Master of Pendulum Structure deck was back
hardened
end
up
of
now.
2015. So the start of
Yeah.
2015,
Josuke can
Necros,
heal it
was
up
like just
since
BA,
it isn't part
some
of him
Kree,
anymore.
some Shadal, and then
Yeah.
Necros came in. It was tier 0 essentially. It was absolutely ludicrous and broken.
piss.
There was a ban list like Joseph mentioned where it was
Mean
very
my
light hidden. I
goddamn
think Prep
Dosey
went to
getting
1, Rota went to 1.
the way.
Brio
that-
went to 2.
Yeah,
Which,
like-
by the way, oh my God, people were pissed. I mean,
Hilarious.
obviously it was a good hit, but after some people spent $270 a month later, like, oh my God, it was so funny.
Yeah. Necro's
I only
mirror
have
match in terms of the
brews. What
gameplay
the
was
fuck is
fairly
this
skillful,
bullshit?
especially after the Jin got banned. And I think Jin was banned in April, so early part of 2015. And that was one of the most frustrating aspects because against Necros, if you were playing the mirror match, it was this really weird tech mind game of, oh, which out to the Jin lock do you have? So Jin lock, for those of you who don't know, it's this Jin monster that was tribute fodder that you would send to the graveyard with Lavavel Chain. You would perform a ritual summon, banish the Jin, utilizing Necros of Colossalos, with the Necros cycle, and you would summon Necros of Colossalos, which is a 23 defender that can drop the attack of something to 0, and they can't special summon. You then back up and protect that Necros of Colossalos with a Battle Fader, Valkyris, if they try and attack over it. Or you could just use the Necros of Colossalos to drop the attack of a monster.
And targeting prevention with Trish and Gungnir destruction. It was just, yeah.
Yeah. So in the mirror match, it was this like, okay, should we play a Rota target like DD Warrior Lady that doesn't target, but then that loses to Valk? Do we play Exiled Force, which can pop it without going to the battle phase? And then I think this was actually the time where some people even played Eclipse. This was one of the first times where Book of Eclipse
in
was
case
like
I
meta.
straight up
Because it was non-targeting
mill 4
booking
servants
of
or
the monster,
something.
then you could special summon.
3
and
servants.
then you would get Trished, which was really funny. And then deeper into like the format around about the summer, Shadal and Burning Abyss were better. And I think there was like another hit, but they were basically just like stun decks. Shadal won the EU WCQ. Burning Abyss won the NA WCQ. Shoutouts Noah Green. And then thereafter, I guess it was just sort of this slow roll towards Pendulum, right? I think there was like a Clown Necros list at some
Yeah,
point.
so that's kind of what I'm... Oh, yeah, so the Clown Necros, I actually wrote feature matches at that event. I think the last event that Necros was legal at, or one of the... It was like YCS Toronto 2015 or whatever.
This is a
and that
pretty
format was
weird
just... It was ruined
list.
suddenly because of Masquerade.
Are they
number
playing
104
black?
Masquerade.
Are they
People
gonna
were
mill me
summoning
out
it,
if I
not
mill
just revealing it
myself a
from their
little too
extra deck
good?
to search.
I'm
But
gonna play around
Masquerade
black.
made the mirror match horrible because you could negate Valk. So like now
Hilarious.
suddenly it just ruined. It was, if it wasn't bad, if it used to be skill intensive, post Jin, pre Clown, the Clown stuff just wrecked it. That YCS was miserable.
Where do you guys want to put 2015?
I'm gonna put it in C. I didn't like this format very much, but there were bright spots.
That's fair. I think that's fair. I did get to play Volcanic, so not D, but C is good.
Wow, that's crazy. For me personally, I think it's like somewhere around A, B. I thought it was decent. I had a great time. For the
Okay,
most
rich
part.
boy.
I didn't play Necros.
Some of
I
us
did-
were,
I
you know,
gen-
broke college
I was
students.
playing
at
Burning
this
Abyss.
time.
I wasn't playing Necros.
Oh yeah, your relationship with the format is just if you can play BA or not. I understand.
Yeah, that makes it a good format. Okay, so moving into 2016, a massive release in December 2015 was the Magician of Pendulum Structure deck. And then this is essentially where like the year of Pendulum and then like, you know, more support comes in the shape of the Monarch Structure deck, which was
Okay,
a
they are indeed
huge,
playing
huge,
black.
I suppose, shift competitively in terms of budget for a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Yep.
So Pepe was released in February, I think, or January of 2016.
I think January,
It's
like
still
right
pretty
away.
typical.
So this was
Just
like a
they're
tier 0
playing
deck. It was
ogre for some
YCS Sydney
reason.
was the first event of
I
2016.
guess they weren't
and I
satisfied
believe that
with their
was like
turn 1 damage.
it might have been 30 top cut spots to Pepe. It was really dominant. And this was 13 days before the emergency ban list. Do you guys want to tell us about the adjusted ban list, I think they called it?
Yeah. So, what ended up happening was they released. I think the only time they've ever done this, a list that was optional. It was specifically designed to, stop Pepe from being the best thing by a country mile. And they like emailed OTSs. They were like, listen, you don't have to abide this list, but we've made the list in case your player base is like, we're not going to fucking play until this is resolved.
Yeah.
And I remember my locals had it like on a piece of paper that they just printed out from their email, like taped to the place where the cards were, and we were all very happy to play under the new, non-new list. It was very, very odd.
Yeah, so this adjusted list was
That's
optional
weird.
for locals. You could adopt the full power list and not follow the adjusted list, but competitive events would be using the adjusted list, which really didn't make sense because why would a local want to use the full power version of Pepe, right? Locals usually are more, they're supposed to be more casual where you can kind of play whatever you want. So it was really bizarre. So yeah, Pepe was absolutely ludicrous. It was dominant. And then they hit us with the adjusted list less than 2 weeks later. And then we also had the Monarch structure deck. This was a huge change. Like I said about like the budgeting of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you were a budget player, you could play like a really good deck. Monarchs were, you could either play extra deckless Monarchs, which was, as a lot of you may already know from some of the recent support, Domain of the Monarchs is a crazy field spell that stops your opponent from summoning from the extra deck if you control Tribute Summon. So that was a very easy way to just lock out Burning Abyss, lock out Pendulum.
Lock out, dude. Yeah, they were locking out Burning Abyss. Yeah, you're right.
Well, yeah, it was like because PK.
Like it was awful. It was an unplayable format because you couldn't make Dante and
Well, it's weird that you're saying that because, I mean, you were talking about Tier 0 Burning Abyss, like end of or start of 2015 or whatever, but this is really when Burning Abyss took a new form and I think it became quite cool. This is the release of Beatrice. This is the release of the Phantom Knights. We have the PK Fire deck. I love those cards a lot. Fogblade is a lot of fun. I mean, Levier, the Sea Dragon. I was a big fan. I played Phantom Knights all year. I love Phantom Knights. So
for me, this is a really interesting
All right,
year to
that's
talk
really
about
good.
because obviously it starts with the worst format of all time, right? Like, what are you going to say about Pepe? But the format by the WCQ, the NAWCQ, was maybe
Unfortunately,
one of
I feel
the
like my
best
hand's just
Yu-Gi-Oh
gonna get
formats I've ever
entered
experienced.
into
It was
oblivion right now.
Monarch with the BA and the domain variants. Pendulum,
We don't
which
really
was
need
like
any more
the
enter
husk
than
of
what we
Pepe, which was
currently
still
already
quite
have.
good, but manageable.
with the Odd Eyes stuff, which was really
with the
cool.
Odd Eyes
Go watch
stuff.
that old Joshua Schmidt profile, guys.
Hell yeah, man.
Very cool.
Burning Abyss, which had the massively successful PK Fire variant, but also a lot of people were playing. I was playing this, for instance. Beatrice to send Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to out the domain lock, right? That was like your cell if they were setting it up on turn 2. Which
Get out
also
Cosmo ships
happens
as
to
well.
beat the other deck in the format, right? Cosmo, which by the WCQ had 2 big builds. It had this big sexy combo build, and then it had like a demise build that would like resolve
Oh my
the
God.
discard of demise and
That is
then
some
resolve the effect of
confidence.
tin can. It was so cute. That format whipped ass. And if that was the entirety of 2016, it would be an easy S for me. Immediately after, I think the release of Inov changed a lot.
I mean, I guess they
couple of months
always have a
after,
guard.
the WCQ.
good. What do you mean?
It was a combination of a list and the release of
Any
Inov, this
color
incredibly powerful
planned.
set that totally changed the landscape of Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever. In terms of like what a combo deck is and does. That was like Metal Foes decks, Paleo decks, Totally Awesome came out in 2016.
This was also the
real-
ABC structure deck around that time, I think.
Yeah, a little later, the ABC structure deck came out and was clear best deck. And then the Worlds for that year, a couple months prior, was of course the totally cynical Worlds where they released all the Blue Eyes shit after hitting everything so that it was the only deck that was playable at the World Tournament. So on one hand, you have like this really awesome 4 months of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like lead up to the WCQ immediately afterwards. But then you have the cynical ass Blue Eyes format, the unplayable Pepe format, and then the Inov format, which I have gone to bat for a lot of times, but in retrospect, I think is a little too like streamlined combo centric for my tastes. I think really just is a palate cleanser after how bad Blue Eyes was. So I don't think I can say this
You
format or
really,
this year was
God,
really
you really
great.
don't like. I would honestly
I
say
disagree with
the
everything
format
you
after
said.
Pepe was great. You don't.
Yep.
You really don't like Blue Eyes. I mean, it was.
I did not like
it
the
was
Blue Eyes
Blue
format.
Eyes.
Well, the format after
I
Pepe
thought it was
being
a
the
great format.
pre-NAWCQ one is great, but the Blue Eyes format I didn't like. You liked it because you could play Dolce. That's what you liked.
No, I wasn't. No,
They can
like
only
we're in
remove one.
2016. I'm playing Monarchs. I'm playing, PK Fire or whatever. I think at this
By
point,
the time the
maybe I
Blue
was
Eyes stuff
playing-
was released,
Never
no,
mind.
I really like the Monarch
did I
PK Fire
play?
format, but then the Blue Eyes release happened after the list that prevented both of those decks from being good at all.
Yeah, what did I play at that?
I thought 2016 was great. I mean, there was a lot of viable decks.
Hey, you played
all
Burning
throughout.
Mist?
I thought it was,
Yeah,
no, I thought I
played
think
a
it
lot
was
of
a
BA,
super
but-
diverse year. I thought
Yeah.
it had a lot of cool decks.
And also enough.
Again,
was
I
like,
like the format. I think the decks are really cool and interesting. I'm glad there are a lot of them, but there are two insanely frustrating, like, non-formats in the middle.
I'm gonna pray for some good life burst.
Yeah, it
I
sounds
don't
like
think
most
the Blue Eyes format you're talking about is like a 1 month time period. I don't
Yes,
think
Pepe
as
is
soon
like
as
a 1 month
Metalfoes
time period.
released, you had like I don't know. I felt like I don't know. I felt like it was, and you got this is the Pot of Desires release. I thought that was a really interesting time. I was apparently playing Phantom Knights at this time.
I
know,
could go
I
for a
know see that.
servant and
But-
save myself
I don't know.
that way.
the some of the best like
What's
parts
that
of
gonna
this,
matter? I feel like
format,
if I
think,
don't
were
kill
Pendulum.
them
If you
next
like Pendulum,
turn,
this was a great
I'm
year.
dead
And that's not
anyways,
talking about
and-
the full power version. Like once it got adequately nerfed, it was like strong, but it wasn't like insanely dominant. You
The
mentioned
WCQ
Josh's.
Pendulum deck was so fun.
Yeah, even before that, I think there was like the Draco Pal list, but not Pepe. I think
Dark
people were-
Draco Pal?
Yeah, it was like dark
With like
dark.
Armageddon Knight and shit.
Yeah,
that
that
stuff was awesome.
So you could like send Zephyros and like bounce a scale and then reuse it.
Yeah.
You could pop your scales with Ariadne and then search Solemn cards, which I guess in hindsight
this
doesn't
sucks.
sound fun to play against, but it was fun to play for
It
sure.
was so fun to get Solemn.
Cosmo was also a really fun deck for some people. Anyway, you mentioned the Demise version. That one was definitely miserable. And then we had Magician.
But it was so cool mechanically.
It was cool, though.
I liked
it
it,
was a
yeah.
cool interaction.
I think
just did
2016
rivalry
is
you
a
pretty
solid year
frequently.
for Yu-Gi-Oh! For me, it's like an A tier.
Yeah, no, this is an A for sure. It would be an S, but for
Do you
the
guys
two
remember
stupid
what
formats.
won that format? The NEWCQ?
I think it was Narc, right?
It was Infernoid. Eric Christensen, right?
Oh, the Eric Christensen.
Oh.
Dude, he didn't lose a
What am I,
match
stupid?
that whole weekend.
I remember Top Cut was like overwhelmingly Phantom Knight, Burning Abyss, and I was like, "Whoa, I guess that's the best deck." And then
Yeah,
was
Infernoid
consistent.
just pops up whenever there's like a good graveyard deck. I
Graveyard
suppose.
deck, and there were 3 of them.
Yeah. 2017. So this is, I think, the second time ever in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we had a 32
can't
out of
Belka
32,
go first?
100% win rate of
It doesn't matter, I
Zodiac,
suppose.
Zodiac variants, all topped on release weekend. Was it February? I think Maximum Crisis?
No. Raging Tempest. Maximum
Yeah,
Crisis. is
Rate
True
was the
Draco.
first, and then Macro is where Chalkanine came out.
And it's also where Ash was released.
Yep.
So 9 years ago.
Damn, do we even need to talk about 2017? I think this is our clear D format. It was I like the Zoo mirror. I think the Zoo mirror is really interesting, but like our other mirrors, the decks that aimed to beat Zoo were so fucking boring. There was a fun period of time where people were just jamming Zoo and everything, where like a bunch of silly decks were topping. That period lasted mere minutes until the release of Maximum Crisis, and Chakanine streamlined the deck down to Zoo.
I think it was because
then
Rap here
fucking-
got semi-limited or limited. I think so. Then you
It got
couldn't.
semi.
So you couldn't actually
You couldn't
play.
do the stupid thing anymore.
Yeah. So Rapier was this weird combo part of Zoo where it would basically just make an extra rank 4. And that
we're
would just
lucky, all
help
they have
lots of
left
decks
are
do a bunch of
defenses,
stuff. So
and
Zoonoid
they're
was really
also
popular.
top
So you can make
decking like
Agasuchi
we
just
are.
mill 5. I don't know what other dumb stuff you could do with Zoo, but Broadwell was a generic
People played
rank
it
4.
in Paleo a lot. Paleo Zoo was very
Yeah, Paleo.
popular.
I mean, it's everything
Infernoid
wanted.
Zoo.
I mean,
was
there's a
very
chance we
popular,
can win
just doing Noid
if
shit.
they can't out all 3 for things.
But after the Zoo format was Master Rule 4. And then we were like, oh my god, all the decks are going to change. Just kidding. They released the Link to Earth, so Zoo was still the best deck for a while. And then they were like, don't worry, we got new shit in the tank. The new shit was a Spiral Tier 0 format, a Firewall Tier 0 format, like 8 of them in a row. Like, the most exciting thing that happened this year was the release of Alistair the Invoker. Like, how fucking
Well, hold
boring.
on, and you're actually
They
everything
surrendered,
you said
alright.
is true. I totally agree, and all that shit sucks. But we're glazing over another, possibly one of the most miserable times. I guess we can. How many times can we say that? A Norden combo. So if you guys
the
were not
Norden
playing back
Where
then, this is a time where Zodiacs actually played. Sometimes even
look at
2.
this.
Some they can
This
just
is-
play
it's
as many as
so
they want.
Joker for
Fusion
Drytron,
substitute, and what they would
without
do
Herald.
is over the course of a long
Because,
combo, a
Divine
very
the
long
Herald is
combo.
such an important
They would
piece.
essentially just cycle through a Norden to get the fusion substitute draws. That's the card that drew,
You would,
right? I think.
that's correct. Yeah, that you'd put it back with
And,
fucking
they-
Diagusto Emerald, so
playing
you could do it like
Drytron
4
sucks
times
too
in one
much
turn.
in
Yeah, you could
Genesis.
literally
search
do
the,
it as
the
many
fusion
times
sub with
as you
fucking
could.
Lunalite Black Sheep searched off Broad Bull. It was a disastrous combo.
So every single time you played against Zoo, it was not only the same combo deck that you had been playing
Vanities
against.
is
Well, I don't know if you can
100.
call it a combo deck, but it was not only the same engine, same deck you'd been playing against for months. Also, now you had to sit there and watch him jerk off with Norden the entire time. I mean, there's a Billy Break deck profile out there where he's like, yeah, I just stopped using this card halfway through the regional because it just got like so boring. Because like the combo took forever just to get one extra draw, and then you
It didn't
extended
advance
it.
the game state. It just made you go like +6 because you were doing Emerald
Valkyries at
draws.
1
Like that's
now.
Dude,
so fucking
it was
lame.
Earth Machine, pre-Earth Machine.
I don't know if you guys ever witnessed this, but I think this was the first time where I ever saw someone like two players mutually agree to like skip a combo. Like, so they would just like go into their deck, take out the Rat Piers, and then put a bunch
Yeah.
of Xyz into the graveyard and be like, okay, this is the end board, shuffle, Emerald draw. Like,
That's amazing.
I
dude.
literally watched
That's
people
so
like do
good.
this, and it was yeah, it was definitely the first time I think where you had like a straight up like spreadsheet combo, because a lot of combo decks up until this point were sort of like, you know, it kind of depends on like what you draw, what you mill, kind of 3-card combos and stuff. This was like a 1 Rat Pier combo, and it was like the same thing, linear all the way through until you like, yeah. So
Well, and you could do it with anything courtesy of Broad Bull and then Chakanine, because like
1, 2,
Chakanine was such
3,
an
4, 5,
annoying
6,
integral
7,
part of that deck.
8,
It was
9,
like
10,
you
11.
bring the guy back with Chakanine, that makes Norden without
Got
using
15
IF,
hand
and then it
traps,
was
it's
just
still
you just
pretty-
won.
that's
There was
still-
nothing you
that's
could do.
still plenty.
so
And I think, you know, we can't gloss over as well the True Draco cards. The True Draco
Yeah,
cards.
the other thing you
You're
could
a
play that format
masterpiece.
was fucking True Draco.
master.
You can play True Draco Stun, which everyone hates. You can play True Draco Zodiacs, which eventually did become one of the more popular decks. That's what won the NAWCQ. But either way, it was
True
like,
Draco
okay,
Metal Foam,
so
if you remember that?
in a lot of the stuff that was good against Zoo wasn't good against True Dracos. True Dracos, maybe even more so than Zodiac, were the rogue killer. True Dracos are so good at playing into rogue. Honestly, I think even, okay, maybe not in the last couple of years, but I mean, even among the release of Master Duel, like 3-4 years later, True Draco was still playable.
Since
It
I'm
was good
playing
for a while.
Mirror
Those
anyway,
cards
I
are just so
could-
efficient. It was just a
Monarchs
miserable
are up
time.
I
for-
could
The guy
play
who
pre-prep.
did Crazy with Volcanics that I mentioned earlier brought True Draco 3 WCQs in a world or in a row, and day 2 all of them. It was like,
See,
Jesus
you can
Christ,
do
man.
that. Like, it's crazy, man.
I will say though, I think we are also glossing over. Do you guys remember what the third deck was in the
There was a
Zodiac
third deck?
True Draco
Paleo, right?
Dinosaur?
It was
WCQ?
Paleo.
It was Dinosaur because it could make VFD.
That's what I was doing at that time.
shit.
Yeah,
That was
Denglong
fucking
combos
awesome.
that were totally
You
unnecessary.
play like the Kaijus to beat Dryden, and then you just go, "I'll make a VFD." What a fun time to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay, without hating too much, because we are dogpiling on 2017. Zoomer was pretty good, other than the fusion sub stuff for the most part.
Correct, yeah.
It was like a lot of people will tell you it was a good, a good deck, a good mirror match.
Yeah.
True Draco mirrors. Well, I don't know about True Draco mirrors. Paleo mirrors were really good. It was quite popular at the time, obviously popularized by
The
Joshua
mirrors were
Schmidt.
really long.
They were really long, yep. But it was a very fun deck. It was also the period where Toad was legal, which is a really enjoyable card to play with, maybe not against. So you also had, I think, some remnants of Pendulum. I think there was some Metalfoes still hanging around.
Yep.
I don't
So, yeah,
actually know.
2017
what- You know,
Metalfoes
I'll,
with the
I'll still
Balbaboon,
play
that was a
land.
cool
I'll
little-
still put
Yeah,
Lansky on the
Balbaboon.
side.
Oh, wait. So that was a really obnoxious part because you could go Balbaboon and then mulligan your hand, pop it with a metal scale, and then it would make 2 more
You mulligan
Balbaboons.
again, yeah.
Mulligan again. You overlay for Invoker
Let's see
and you
here.
summon
1,
Rapier.
2, 3,
I think was it
4,
Rapier? You could
5,
summon a Beast
6,
Warrior with
7,
Invoker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
8,
So that was a very
9,
funny
10,
deck.
11,
I want to
I mean,
reach
this
them
year
with that,
was
actually.
12, 13,
Terrible. I think this
14.
year had some of the worst formats in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. I don't know. I guess
Technically
I'm
17
sitting here
hard
and it's like
stars.
I think, you know, there's a big bias. I am
Although
clearly
Prayers is
someone
the
that
weakest
enjoys
starter.
playing the 4th best deck in a format. So like I don't like sitting down and playing a bunch of mirrors, and I think that would maybe separate me from maybe even a lot of people watching the video. Like I don't like playing
How's
10
my
mirror
Yo
matches
Mega
in a
gonna,
day. It's not
gonna
for
work
me.
out?
I would put 2017 in B, but the thing that
Or
really
did
sours
Discord
it.
Oh my
Days
god,
three
easy
happening
D
later?
for me. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm about to say
down the
easy.
line.
Like,
If I could finish my thought, if that's okay.
No,
the thing
please
that
do.
No.
the thing that really sours 2017 is you guys are really hating on Zoo and stuff. I hated True Draco. Masterpiece was insufferable, and a lot of people like forgot what that card does because Link monsters can out it now. It makes itself unaffected by monsters. Usually is what you attribute. So it would be immune to the type of card you tribute. You could tribute spells, you could tribute traps, continuous ones. So typically you would make a spell monster immune masterpiece. So it's just it towers that's immune to card effects.
Well, actually, I can make
and
it
has a
live
quick
if I
effect to pop
if I
cards.
can
So even if
resolve
you, like,
7th Tachyon.
kind of put together a big guy to run over it, they just go battle phase pop. So this really dropped my enjoyment of 2017. But other than that, like I said, I love Paleo. I think
Yeah,
it's great.
we're putting it in D, Farfa. I'm sorry. That's it's going in
Jesus
D.
Christ.
yeah, I think you're being outvoted. I don't know, man. Like,
Be honest.
I'm not saying the mirrors weren't bad, or I don't know.
I am.
2018 was
Hard to talk about. 2018 begins with like that pendulum magician deck that occasionally
Holy shit,
had
they're
an
playing
FTK, if you guys
Witchcrafters.
remember that.
Are they actually playing
Uh,
Witchcrafters?
And that deck was
Or is there something-
interesting.
No, they're
I will say
straight
that
up
deck
playing
could have
Witchcrafters.
been worse. I mean,
Was
I'm
it- are you
talking
ta-
about
are
a
you
deck
talking
that's
Or maybe
about-
this
Could
is
not have been
Magistus.
worse.
Alright,
What
yeah,
are
they're
you
playing
talking
Magistus.
about,
So
man?
are you talking about a literal FTK or is this the S0 thing?
No,
No, it was an
so
FTK
you
with the
could,
starving
you could
venom.
S0, but you could also just kill. You could FTK.
Tyrant Neptune.
Yeah.
I mean,
This deck
I have
was.
no choice
I mean,
but to
maybe I'm just.
go for
I
it
remembered
right
a little
here,
more fondly
right?
because of how bad 2017
'Cause,
was, but it didn't get better.
they can
So
summon
it's
Dragoon
Pendulum
anytime
Magician,
they
and
want,
the second
and
best
that'll
deck is
suck for
everyone's
me a lot.
favorite, True Draco. And they're like,
And
don't
then
worry,
this'll
we
never
got
be
new shit
active.
coming out. The new shit
I mean,
was
what
Trickstar,
can they do
which
on
was
my
a draw
turn?
and
I
lock
don't
bird
think they
loop
can.
deck
They'll
or an
summon 5
FTK.
times on my turn, man.
And then eventually they released Sky Striker, which was cool. Like, Sky Striker is a cool, fun deck. Although at full power, it was crazy overtuned and impossible for
6-9,
any rogue
yeah.
deck to gain ground against. The only other thing worth playing in that format, in my opinion, is Goki, a literal
They
FTK
contribute
deck.
that?
And I think people who didn't play in 2018 don't remember any deck
It's
that was
any
not Sky
thing
Striker,
from
Goki, or
Handerfield.
the Sky Striker Trickstar Mech Knight deck that I think we all pretended was playable, so we didn't have to play the other two, was a rogue deck that just randomly, because they hadn't boxed
And
out
they
special
still
summons
have
correctly,
two
could
Omni
summon
negates.
infinity monsters off
Isn't
of
that
Firewall and
fun?
would Gumblar loop you.
I think you're forgetting one very key deck in that format.
Yeah.
Altergeist released at that time. It was
Oh, yeah,
amazing.
go fuck yourself.
Best format ever. We get the release
yeah.
of Imperm. We get Faker. Dude, Altergeist best fourth best deck. I mean, that's amazing, right? Like,
No, it was a miserable time to be playing. It was like you would roll up. and your
really,
opponent-
this year was great, man.
This year was terrible, man. This
No,
is
it
like
was pretty bad.
probably
The
the,
Goki
worst
stuff was
year in
pretty
Yu-Gi-Oh history.
So the weird
But also, it was kind of cool because it played Octodolphin. No, it was a very rough year. I
Yeah.
just
Oh, the
liked it
hand
'cause I
looping was
playing
really
Altergeist
nice.
a lot.
You getting hand looped for 5 was awesome.
It's really weird. So I very specifically know a lot about this because I just did a big video on it. It's one of those like weird hindsight things. So if you analyze it through all of the gameplay and stuff, it would seem terrible on paper, but you know, socially, for some reason, other than the YCS Long Beach, which I think was like 4,000 people, this was the year that had the largest NA YCS attendance. This was, at the
Yeah.
time, the largest NA WCQ. This was the largest
Yeah.
EU WCQ. It was the largest EU WCQ, did I say that? And the largest EU YCS attendance as well. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was
Wow.
booming statistically at the tier 2 level. And weirdly
Ah,
enough, it was
piss.
the one that people complained the most. This was the year where Konami were getting prank called. They
All
were
right.
getting literal like spam, like threats, emails like constantly. All of their comment sections were locked
have
on
two
YouTube
normal
for large
summons.
portions of 2018 because people were spamming about how bad the format was and how they
I
should
feel
ban
like with our
Firewall, they need to
hand,
ban
it's
all these
better to
FTKs.
normal summon
So
Ice
on
Rise
paper,
here.
it's weird. 2018 seems terrible, but statistically, it
I could
was
also
doing
just
well
go
at
to the
the tier 2
battle
level.
phase
On top of that,
during the main
if you actually
phase,
look at the
target
data,
thingy.
you know, there is this like big
I can also
bulky
just
boogeyman
out this
and
with
stuff like
Nibiru,
that.
'cause,
But statistically in Top
I
Cut,
don't need to go try going
the
for
most
game. I
played
feel like
decks
that
and
would be
represented
stupid
were
right now.
like
Too risky.
striker variants.
I'd say Skyshaker, Trickstar, Hugh. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff Jones, Max Reynolds. I think both topped that event with that deck, and yeah, I think there was a ton of different options.
I can
It's just
handle
that
the
once
negate
decks
from Red Ice.
got going, it kind of fucked everything. This was also
It's
the
all
year
too easy.
at the very end of the year we started getting the Danger Monsters.
Normal
This is when
summon
the Danger
ice.
Monsters were printed for the first time, and also Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragons
Yeah, there you
became a
go.
big part of the format at the end of 2018. So
think-
we're going to talk about TOS format in the next year because that's 2019, but this really was laying the groundwork, doing the prologue of TOS. You're insane for putting that in D tier. I'm sorry. This is like
put
the
it in D tier.
Where do you want to put this, Doug?
This is come on. What else is going to go in D tier?
I don't know
None
how
of these
much
other
hot-
formats are this bad.
I don't know how much.
What are you talking, dude? I'd put this shit in B tier. Honestly, I would put it higher because but I think it's an easy B tier year.
All right, we'll
many-
compromise on C. You're out of
hold
your
on.
fucking mind.
How many events did you top in, Doug, in 2018?
Not any, but okay, we don't have to shame me over
No,
that.
no, no. Like I just can't remember when your insane run was. You topped like 3 events back to back or something. Wasn't that 2018?
Yeah, 2019, I had a, this
that
is
was
my
2019,
high school
okay.
talking about, my football days. I did have a UDS top 4 and then a YCS top 32 and then a regional second place, all within the span of a month. So yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, I'm not going to try to let that. I mean, I think TOS format was
B is
amazing.
like
Anyway.
I can get behind like C. Joseph is
We'll
like
do C. We'll
really
do C.
underselling.
Yeah,
but
I think
B
C's
is
a
crazy.
decent compromise.
Okay, 2019. This is the Eternal format, TOS format. Historically looked at as a really well-beloved format by a lot of the player base. The reason for that is the format opened up a lot and it did ban a lot of the problems. The January ban list of 2019.
Wait, what? I feel like that's
was,
wrong.
I think
Why
maybe
did
the
you
second or
send?
third
Why
biggest.
did you go for?
Much like come
Weaker.
after like the Dragon Rulers, and so 2019 it sort of like turns into this like 3-deck format where you have Orcust, Striker, or Orca Striker together. What was the other main deck?
Thunder Dragon,
Dragon?
Salaman
Thunder
Greats
Dragon,
are being
Salamangreat,
played.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
those
then there
are-
was like
What a
Digimon,
game!
You can play Guru.
Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Vlad top this year with Infernoid again.
Oh, I don't have
This
face
stupid
cam.
ass fucking dumb fucking idiot deck.
It was a lot
I mean,
of
I think this
viable
was
stuff.
kind of okay. I will say at the time, I do remember people complaining a lot because, people are always going to complain. But the decks that were topping they all had inevitability. They all had strong turn 1 plays off of just a couple cards. And I think, looking back, it's like, okay,
All I
it was
did
reasonable. But at the time,
was
I think people
normal
were frustrated
summon an
with some
Ice
of- if you
Ryzeal.
weren't playing a deck that had been released in the last,
Activate
2
Nibiru.
years, you were just dead in the
And Droll and
water.
Lockbird.
Doug is
but personally,
talking from
I-
the perspective of someone who played
Meanwhile,
Ultra
they
Deck
were
for-
doing literally everything their
of
deck
course,
was
but,
supposed to do.
I think that
I barely did anything.
I think this really was 2014 too, in terms of every single event seemed to have a couple, top decks that you knew you were going to play against, that you knew you had to side deck against, and then also you'd play a lot of rogue decks as well. I can't remember what event it was, but I remember there was one time, like halfway through 2019, before the multi-faker limit, where I did a YCS and I think I played a different deck every single round. And to me, that's what is great about Yu-Gi-Oh! I know some people get really frustrated with those situations, but
No,
I
fuck them.
really
I
like it when
fully agree
Yu-Gi-Oh!
with
is
you.
different.
Yep.
But-
That's amazing.
This year was good. I will say the back half were Dingirsu released and Orcust became the obvious best deck, and courtesy of Masquerena, that was kind of rough, and the subsequent lists were but on the whole, this was, I think, one of the best times to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! It was so fucking fun. I'd say S or A for me.
I just drew Ryzeal.
Somewhere up there, I don't know. Yeah, I honestly can't find too much to complain about. I mean, there were very powerful
In this
cards
hand,
there, but I
that's
think
really
it's,
You can even
depressing.
put it in
Yeah, I
S
think that was
because
a good
you
year.
could play Block Dragon BA Farfa.
Oh.
That deck was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was a deck that existed. Maybe it was one of the 20 decks Doug played in Swiss. For 2020, was this the COVID Adamancipator year? Was this the...
Yeah.
Eldritch,
Okay.
Adamancipator. What was the other archetype?
We got away with a lot this year because no one played any Yu-Gi-Oh!
I don't remember how to
If we'd been
Ryzeal
playing
anymore,
Yu-Gi-Oh, we would
actually.
have all killed ourselves. It was
so bad, man.
what
It
an
was
awful format. It was Adamancipator Eldritch, and admittedly it was just Adamancipator. And then every other deck that wasn't that was using
combo
Halqify
decks.
Brax to do some stupid Auroradon bullshit. It was just a horrible time to be playing.
yeah.
The one deck that was really frustrating to me was the Eldritch combo deck, because you had this like weird combo line where it was
You're
like,
welcome. You're welcome.
I think Joseph likes that deck a lot.
No,
Oh, yeah, I forgot it's special summon.
I like. I love telling this story, but we held like a Chalice Line monthly. That's when we were doing these because of COVID.
I mean, I'm not playing
And,
around Nibiru, but look at this.
One player, Lieutenant Lab Coat,
Ridiculousness.
had a deck that did Auroradon summon back Deskbot 001. And he was playing like Deskbots, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's like really good. And so I shaved it down to like the minimum number of shit you could play, and I played it at a PPG event. No, I played it at like Doug's Locals or something.
What are we talking about, man?
It was like an online local, and you and I were both in it. And so,
I mean, I like Yu-Gi-Oh,
after
but
this,
none of the decks are
Jason
interesting
Leonard,
for
Jeff
me to
Leonard's
play
kid,
with right now. I'm waiting for
saw
cool
the deck
tunes.
and iterated further
Draco
on it,
Tail's
shaved it down
been
to
neutered.
literal, like very
It's not
few
consistent
cards you
enough
could
for me
play.
to
And then we were
consider
like,
all that
why don't
fun
we just play this
anymore.
in Eldritch that doesn't have a normal, because Invoked Eldritch was the big build back then. And like stormed a PPG online event with it, and it was like, oh great, now Eldritch does a combo. It was so irritating.
yeah, this was the time where I think luxury online tournaments were really popular, and I think I remember, I think it was like Cameron Neal. I remember watching,
And yeah,
just
this is
like
just
you
Ryzeal,
would do
but
this
this is
literal one card
this
combo
is
that
fucking
was like
ridiculous.
an extra deck lock Savage Dragon plus Herald.
Yeah, it was.
And-
It was.
Oh my god, dude! I forgot about Union Carrier.
Union
What a
Carrier,
miserable
the little
card.
guy,
Yeah, and
Every
then-
deck was Union Carrying too, though, because Adamantipator, of course, integrated it into their combo.
And then you would set 4 as well, and it was like, well,
Yep.
how the fuck do you beat this deck that has a combo board and back row?
Well, you win the die roll and you play Adamantipator. That was how.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was just not a good time to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm trying to remember what else happened during that year.
Yeah, I was just
a
looking
big
it up
blur, it's
at
a big blur.
the very end of the year is when we got
I could have actually
the
still gone
Genesis
full
Impact, which
Mitsurugi
featured
combo if I
Drytron, which immediately got
sent
used with
Mirror
Union Carrier
instead of
combos and
the Molcharmi off of Tachyon.
Is
Wow.
that the
really
same set as
frustrating deck to play
Virtual
against.
World?
Yeah.
So it's no, so this was a deck building set. It had Magistus and Live Twins in there as well. Live Twins were not.
I have
good
more
on these,
starters
though,
for
not even a little
fucking
bit. So,
Mitsu
it was
than
primarily just known for the
What the
Drytron
hell?
cards, which were extremely
Bonfire's
frustrating
at
to play
1,
against.
right?
I think
I
you
could
know,
technically
probably some
play that
people
as
even
well as an
nowadays have
additional
PTSD
starter.
against Drytron, but yeah. Anyway, that was like
it was like
end of-
the first part of the year. Wasn't it like Dragon Link was really big, but no one was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It is.
Then
It's a weird
April-
year to rate.
Yeah, April
Like,
Cecil
I don't-
comes out,
I
and it
want
was miserable
more,
until the end of the
Mitsurugi
year.
starters.
Like, the next important thing that came out was in August when Rise of the Duelist
Because
came out.
Ryzeal can't
And
bridge
that set was,
into
like,
Mitsurugi anymore.
so
That was good, right?
underpowered.
It had Tri Brigade, no?
No. It had
Dogmatica.
the Dogmatica guys, the
But like it's
Infernobles.
pre-Elbaz support.
I believe
right?
Yummy
yeah.
and
So it's just
K9
no
have
Ecclesia
still have
4 release was
access
kind of
via
hyped up,
via
but a little
Ashland
bit
1000.
underperforming. I remember I played in a sponsored Konami event with a bunch of like pro players. I'm not sure how I ended up in there, and it was like
Sam won that, didn't he?
80%. That's the one that Sam.
I guess
yeah,
Luna
won
Light
against.
is
He
still
won
at
with
full
Dino.
power.
Dino.
I didn't know we were playing.
that's what I
for
could be playing
Anyway, like
instead,
it was
but-
like all Adamancipator and a couple Eldritch players.
No, but Sam won
and,
with Dino, remember?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
Sam
I
won
remember
He
him
was the
winning with
only one.
Dino. Yeah, I lost to him. So
I will
trust me,
say, I
remember.
think the very end of the year is when Phantom Rage came out, and that was Raid Raptor, Tri Brigade, and Virtual World, and those decks were interesting and cool, but they took a little bit of time for people to catch on to. I remember Phantom Rage at release was like this super underhyped set, and it was like selling for cost. And then after about a week, people were like, the Tri Brigade cards are the best thing ever printed. The Virtual World cards are actually quite good. So I have no
I already have
problem
Gold Leo
calling
in
those
hand.
functionally 2021
What do I do
cards
here?
and saying this entire fucking year sucked balls.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm fine saying D tier. That's a tough time.
Yeah, so going into
What about Toon
2021.
Chaos, though? You guys remember Toon Chaos?
Hey, KO Space was in there. That card's cool. 2021, I guess, started off with where you were just talking about just now. The interesting thing, I remember Lulu's, Virtual World Lulu's, being like literally like $2 or $3, and then they immediately spiked when people realized how insanely good this deck was.
I didn't
at
mean to activate
powering
this right
out
away.
VFD, which was still legal, I think, at the time. So this format, what was it? It was Virtual World, Tri Brigade, Drytron. Was it basically just like the Master Duel format?
Yeah, I mean, I think Yeah, this really, now that you say it like that, this was kind of like the first Master Duel format. Yeah, a little bit. I'm just trying to look in here. We got Blazing Vortex released.
Because I know that
Nothing
at some point during this time period, I didn't really play competitively around about like these COVID years personally, so I'm not too sure how this year was. But I remember that there was a lot of online tournaments that were doing well with, after the Adamantipator era. I think like Trilurlus was really good.
Yeah.
That deck was
Bird Up,
obnoxious as
name
fuck.
of that deck. That deck was
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, it
So,
ended. Wasn't that deck like Simorglock, Apollosa, Apex
Yeah,
Game?
no,
Apex?
It wasn't.
that.
It wasn't Apollosa, but it would Simorg you. I don't know. I thought that deck was fine. You got to understand the context of 2021 was the top decks were like Drytron, which just put up a fucking
Herald.
billion negates, and then would Union Carrier a B onto their Herald of Ultimateness, so you couldn't droplet it. That was awesome.
Oh my god.
Virtual World, which made Macro Cosmos plus like 18 points of interaction, plus VFD because VFD was legal. And then Tri Brigade and its associated variants, which just like in Master Duel, saved the fucking world because they were a deck that actually did something interesting. It wasn't just negate.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that deck definitely made Apollosa, didn't it?
It could make Apollosa, but I mean, this was one of those times when it was like Apollosa isn't like the end all be all. Like you could normal summon a Fractal and walk over it, you know?
So I remember. I feel like I remember a Tri deck that was like Apollosa, Dryden,
Try
Revolt.
would make Apollosa.
Yeah, and you would have Revolt, and you would have the Wind
Ancient Warriors
Ancient
guy
Warrior.
usually
Yeah,
found his way in there.
yeah, that was freaking horrible. Holy
This
crap.
was a tough year for.
I don't know.
I'm just
I have
kind of
no
going
problem
through
with that end board.
the core sets right now. This was a tough year. I remember
Yeah,
having a lot
there
of.
was
I mean,
not
this
a
is
lot
just
playable.
modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but like, yeah, we got Core Set 1. It had War Rocks. It has War Rock Mountain. That's the cover card here. And it also had the
Yeah.
David support, which was really important. Lightning Overdrive had
That was the crack
Diviner
one,
of the
where they sold the
Herald.
crack.
And then Dawn of Majesty, just terrible. At
So-
the end of the year, though,
I'll push back a little bit on Dama. I think Dawn of Majesty had like 5 really interesting decks in it. But I mean,
It had
is
the
true that-
Magic Keys. Like, Magic Keys are pretty cool.
Yeah, we thought
it
they
had
were going to be good.
Gizmex.
It is where Aluber debuts, but I mean, admittedly, of course, like these decks weren't great. They weren't competitive versus the top stuff.
But I will say
then-
at the end of the year, and this is kind of, for me at least, obviously I like Sword Soul a lot, but this is when, at least around me, locals had started opening up again at the very end of the year. So it
Yep.
was a good time. But we do get at the last set here, Burst of Destiny, which had some incredibly powerful cards, including
DPE.
Sword Souls, DPE.
Oh my
Fluanda
god! I
Reese,
just
you know,
remember.
War
Yeah.
Crime Fluanda
So
Reese.
just before this point, Verte was legal, and I think this was the
Yep.
period where every deck was just doing their combo and then making 2 guys into Dragoon, and then Burst of
Yeah, it
Destiny
was,
dropped, and then people did that with DPE,
DPE,
right?
yeah.
It's kind of weird to talk about because the Verte for Dragoon thing actually didn't happen that much in like tiered matches, right? 'Cause,
Drytron
like,
was doing it, right? Wasn't
the,
that?
the A tier was yeah. So the A tier was Tri Brigade, which really didn't do it, and Virtual World, which obviously can't. But Drytron would do it if they were interrupted, but sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they'd be like, I don't really want to devote that many bricks to a deck that's already kind of bricky. So, like, that's the extent to which it was played at top tables.
Yeah,
But
and there was
every
like the,
other deck in the format was trying to weave Verte for Dragoon in. So you saw it all the time.
Do you remember the Sub-Terror like anti-meta deck that was just
Oh
playing
my
like
god,
6
playing
Red Eyes
just
Fusion?
Red Eyes Fusion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
You could still sit
Red Eyes
Guru.
Insight.
So Red Eyes Fusion has a restriction that says you can't normal summon or special at all that turn. So you could just set Gurus, like set 3 cards, and then just end on Dragoon. Like it was very obnoxious to play against.
I'd throw this in C. It's definitely not a D for me. Like there were playable decks, and I still like Tri. I think all the Tri decks were fucking awesome. I was super happy with them. But I will admit, like slow start back to the post-COVID world. These playable decks were largely unfun, and the format lasted forever because all the core sets were just bad.
Yeah, I'll let you guys decide that because I don't have a huge memory of 21 specifically. But Doug, you really like 2022, right?
I like 2022. I was pulling up some sets here. I think 2022. Yeah, I think there were some good things in this format. I think that
I got rid of
I
the
don't know.
only
I mean,
level
we were
4 I
talking
can
about
summon.
it in an old MasterChef, right? I think that Sword Soul is a really good top deck, and I think the mirror matches were interesting. And I
Never
think
mind, I
that,
still have Tri-Brigade
they were very
Fractal, I
skill
forgot.
intensive.
Sure, you'll
A
do.
lot of good back and forth. Going first, going second didn't really matter as much, which I think is a good sign in a mirror match. But there were also some really shit things going on this year. I mean, we see a lot of artifact Dagda stuff
Yeah,
happening.
ton of
We
Dagda
see,
loops.
Helki Vibrax and everything still. It's still legal at this point. They have hit some of the pieces that made it overpowered. We don't have Link Cross, of course, but it was still really, really prevalent. Prank kids are around. Yeah, there were just like a number of things that I think were, good, but also I think that there were some very frustrating matchups and cards in this format that were just locking you out of the game.
This was when Mystic Mine was everywhere, for instance.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of hard to encapsulate this one because for me it's like two sequences of the year, right? Like the first one is this like grand creators release when everyone was like, oh my god, we have to play adventure and everything. And then when they released the structure deck, they were like, oh my god, we need to play branded fusion to make Mirror Jade in everything. Like every deck was just like, also we're going to play branded fusion to make Mirror Jade. And you could do it off Verte, so why wouldn't you? And then Pote came out. And like
Suboptimal.
Pote, of course, changed everything.
I've definitely fallen off of
We
it.
all thought
Oh,
Sprite was
is
going
it?
to be the best deck.
Was
This
Poe
deck's
legal for
illegal.
WCQ?
No,
No, it's
Yeah.
after. Yeah.
Okay.
it
so
was like the first set of the new season.
Yeah, so 2022 was weird that way. Yeah, there's all those combo decks you mentioned, but I mean, me and Doug, we loved Sword Soul. This was probably, I guess, my only real major credential is like getting top 16 at nationals, and I really loved that format. I loved Sword Soul. Sword Soul 10 mirrors were like really enjoyable. And it's also, I guess, important to, I don't think you guys mentioned like the baby branded deck. So it was like branded, but like this was like literally like you would just make Lebellion into Mirror Jade and I think Dramaturge was
The
even
Guardian
played.
Chimera branded in red time period.
That's what I got my invite with that year. Was playing that deck with Adventure. That deck was
Yeah,
fucking
nice.
awesome.
I remember how frustrated people were with Crossout during that time because
Oh my
branded.
god.
you would-
That's how I got my invite is in the finals of the pod. I did like a little regional, one of those, and my opponent was on branded, and they went first, and I had branded fusion. They went, I'll use Wandering Griffin Rider, and I go cross out call Griffin Rider.
Oh my god,
It's fucked up. That guy probably still thinks about that.
You're like,
Yeah.
how could that fucking shit happen to me?
And I remember like that deck was so focused on branded fusion. I remember branded players siding Crossout for Ash, and then also doing it in the mirror match, and that was so
Yeah.
toxic because you could cross out branded fusion in the mirror and
You would side one copy of Dimensional
and D
at
barrier
the
as
time.
well. Yeah, Oh
so
my
that
God.
you could call it off and cross out. It happened all the time. You had to.
Or you could just be a genius and play Night Beam to.
Stop making fun of Nightbeam. But then after Pote, of course, the top deck is Sprite. Everyone's like, Sprite's going to be the best forever. I really like the TCG innovation of Casino Tier. I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The Pote format pre-Mavens was really nice. Like, I like that format a lot, looking back on it. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. The top two decks are pretty popular. Exo Sister was around for Doug. And I remember Peeps did a deep run at one of the Canadian YCSs with Earth Machine. Like, there was a lot you can do. That is also where Jesse Cotton has his famous picture of him frowning at getting shifted. Then when Mavens comes out, of course, we have like the November YCSs that produced that like Yu-Gi-Oh meme with like Jesse and oh god, what's his
Hani,
name?
right?
Hani, yeah. Just like looking at each other trying to navigate a board state. I loved that format as well. I think that
Oh,
format
nice.
was
All
really
our,
cool.
Master
though I know a
Duel
lot of
Master
people
Aim this
fucking
year.
hate it with all their guts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you either love full power tier limit format or you hate it. I think undeniably, even as someone that both doesn't like mirror matches and doesn't like tier 0 formats, I think that the like I said, I don't like tier limit. I don't like tier 0 formats, but it's the amount of player expression was so present in there. It wasn't deck building expression, of course. I mean, there were a couple changes, but we did see, the deck list got pretty similar, pretty homogenized, pretty fast. But, it was easily one of the most skill-intensive matchups in all of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. And even though at this time I was just trying to dweller people with Exo Sisters, I think I can at least recognize, especially now that we've moved past it, that it was a very skill-intensive format, of course. I mean, that wasn't really deniable at the time, but it was an extremely skill-intensive format that required a lot of practice. And some of the things that sort of started around this era, we're still seeing nowadays. The turn 0 plays we're seeing nowadays, not only Havinous, but also the Bestials
Ghost
released
Bell's
this year
good,
too.
right?
So, no, I think it was a time where if you weren't playing Tearlament, you probably weren't having a great, tournament experience. But even if it's something that I personally didn't love, I mean, I was going to a lot of events at this time still, but even if it wasn't a format I personally loved, it's hard to say that it wasn't skill intensive and a really good environment for the top players specifically.
I'd be willing to put this in A. I think that both halves of this year, both the post-pote, like, Tearlament control, and the pre-pote, like, Albaz stuff were fine. I like both of these.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say about the second half because I didn't really play Pote and past Pote, but yeah, I really love the first half for the most part.
I will say though, like this, I mean, as we're going through here, maybe I'm realizing it happens more than I think it does, but this really is a time where a line is drawn in the sand, and if your deck wasn't released post 20 or in 2022, it no
You're
longer
dead.
was
Yeah, it's
viable.
over.
Like basically, like what
Well,
Sprite
that's
and
not true.
Tearlament
People were winning
able
with
to
Sky
accomplish.
Striker during this period. That's Sky Striker.
Yeah, were they? Was that?
Yeah.
I'm noticing
Really?
a weird.
People played Sky Striker. I feel like that was. I don't know.
I mean, if you're talking
I went
about
to-
post-release of Mavens, like, nothing was winning that wasn't.
No. I'm not even. I don't know. I went to like probably 3 regionals between Pote and the Maven, and I don't know. I don't remember a lot of Sky Striker players, but maybe it was just my area. I don't know.
I have no idea what 2023 is.
2023 is fucking horseshit, dog-ass awful.
It's like Kashtira.
Do you guys remember
releases, right?
Kashtira?
Photon
Cool deck,
Hypernova,
cool deck.
was that February? I think.
Yeah, Photon
Yeah.
Hypernova first set.
So I
So-
remember a very specific incident that happened at the start of 2023 where we had one event, I think it was YCS Lyon, which was, or it might have been an NA event, where Tearlament was about to be banned, literally the week after, but
Yeah.
it was the release of Kashtira. And weirdly enough, Kashtira and Tearlament, I think, had about equal representation. And this was full power Tearlament. At the same time as a Rise Heart. So
First time. I mean, yeah, Kashtira, like
Yeah, I
first
mean, it's-
wave, like.
I think what ended up
unbelievable.
happening at that event was like, it was like 60-40 in top cut, and then I think Tier ended up winning, but like, it was like the big macro guy versus the deck that loses to the big macro guy.
yeah,
Oh,
so
this
it's like,
set or this year also had. I'm just kind of looking at the core sets. I think you guys are as well. But this set had the super heavy samurai stuff at
Yeah,
the
so
end.
Oh my God.
let me run through it. So
yeah.
the start of the year was the Rescue Ace Pearly pack, and it's like, oh cool, until you realize that neither of those decks were good. Like it took time for them to get their extra shit together. So then we had to deal with Kashtira being the best deck for almost the entire year, and then YCS Philly, I remember I went to. The super heavy samurais had just come out, and that deck was horrible to play against. It was maybe the worst deck of all time to play against. It was like, if you opened Droll, you won 100% of the time because they had nothing they could do against it, right? They didn't play spells. But if you didn't open Droll, you lost 100% of the time. The Kashtira mirror was really irritating because you would blind second because like a Rise Heart is so mid in the mirror and the board wipes are so good against it that like you would just go second board into Lightning Storms and like Regekis and shit. And you would go like Fenrir attack it, I win.
I don't remember the Cashmere being that bad. The Cashmere was like,
I played so much of the Kashmir, man. I did not enjoy it. It was, for all intents and purposes, it was kind of a diverse format, but I hated almost every deck there. It was like by the
diverse,
WCQ,
but every matchup is frustrating.
yeah, by the WCQ, it was like every single matchup was like, well, you could play against Fluon Deriz. It's like, oh, thank God. And then
I think they had Stormwind banned at this point, at least, right? I want to say
Yeah.
the barrier statue was banned before, but like M-Pen was obviously still frustrating. Was Unchained during this year, or was that the year after?
Well,
I think it
yeah.
was this
So
year, right?
then at the very end of this year, you get
Bologna, I believe
the
it.
Duelist Nexus release, which
Yeah.
has the Unchained Sharvara in it.
Oh, right, it adds.
And basically ushered in a really, really good format that lasted until the release of Age of Overlord. It's like, the first half of the year is fucking miserable. It is like an unplayable dog shit format that lasts through the WCQ, and then afterwards you have like a 4-month greatest of all time format into Dune, into Aegon, where it was like it was Unchained, Tier was still playable, but in
Rescue
a totally
Ace, I
neutered
think,
state.
was pretty
Rescue
good as
Ace,
well.
I
About
played
to say
so
Rescue
much
Ace. I mean, this
Rescue Ace.
is. I think this is a. I mean, Joseph,
Lab was
you
big,
and I.
Pearly was big. This is the closest I ever got to a YCS top, was losing to Cam Neal at this event. But
Labyrinth was released, I think, this year as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But I mean, Joseph, this was a time when we must have gone to 6 YCS. I mean, we
did.
were going to.
I played so
YCS
much this
after
format. It was
YCS.
such a good time. And all these decks were cool and interesting. It just is so funny that it like comes on the heels of the most annoying fucking format of all time.
Well,
I'd put
not
it in
only,
B.
and I mean,
It is weird because it's literally two different like portions, right? It's like pre and post WCQ, or I suppose like the the set you mentioned that had like all the Unchained stuff. So yeah, it
I mean,
does
those
actually
formats
sound really
were
fun.
so cool.
They were
I mean,
like, I play Agov to this day with like friends who still have decks. Like it's so good. It's such a good
I liked
format.
that format so much. I got back from Cancun and booked another YCS
I know.
that I hadn't planned on
Dude,
going to. I was like, this
in
is so much
Cancun,
fun.
Like getting plastered out
Like-
of our mind every day, and all I could think about was Yu-Gi-Oh. Can you believe that? Like I was like, oh
No,
my
I was
God,
mostly
like,
thinking about margaritas, but
Okay,
yeah,
well.
yeah.
2024, the year of fire. I don't know. I played so much this year, and it was weird because I don't think I was having fun at all. This was a weird year to be playing. 2024.
When was Snake Eye? Like which part?
This
like,
is
specifically?
the Snake Eye.
This
year,
is the
right?
Poplar release.
Yeah, this is February, I think, right? Or like very early.
Yeah, it was the first set because it was it was not with the initial. I don't know if people nowadays even would
It's
believe
Phantom
it, but there was
Nightmare,
an
right? Is where
initial
Poplar
wave
comes out?
of- Yeah, yeah.
So this format's nothing. It's not even remotely interesting until Phantom Nightmare, and then Phantom Nightmare is like Yubel, Snake Eye, Voiceless Voice, and like people were playing
Was Fiendsmith
all
in that
these
set?
weird different versions of it. But far and away, the most popular thing was like Snake Eye and Fire King Snake Eye. Fire King came out like the previous year, like at the very end, and it basically held for the entire year. Like new stuff was coming out, like the Centurions came out. You know,
Where did the Fiendsmiths come into this?
the Fiendsmiths? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is like the second.
Well, Fiendsmiths
half,
were
I
a
think?
really important part of Snake
Fiendsmiths
Eye.
were
right?
info, right? Am I
yeah.
crazy?
I'm pulling
Yeah.
it up.
Is that 20?
That's
Is that early
2025, I think.
Oh, is it?
I know it seems like it's been forever.
No,
It's
hold
mid
on, hold
2024.
on.
You're right.
I mean, I'll say, we're talking about this format, and obviously, once again, I'm biased, blah, 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 quit during this time. I remember I was at the ultimate, the ultimate
Giga UDS.
thing, and I remember sitting there watching, 20 hours of Snake Eye Mirrors, and I remember, like, having this moment, realizing I don't like this. I don't like this direction. I don't think this is interesting. I'm talking about disliking mirror matches, but it wasn't even that. It was just like, it didn't look like the Yu-Gi-Oh that I had known. And I remember being so shocked that it had pivoted to this after what I thought was a mostly good year, or at least, halfway decent for half of the year. It was just a very weird, I very vividly have this memory of just sitting on a couch watching these mirror matches all day and just being like, this isn't fun anymore. And that's, why I took a big step back. So maybe you guys can talk more about this year, but I just remember that.
It's kind of miserable. This is probably when I was at my most competitive. So far as this is when I have
You're
like
grinding.
the Konami the Master Duel finish that I'm proud of. All that shit. I played a ton of this format, and I played almost exclusively Snake Eye, and I still feel that I didn't get all the way there on Snake Eye. The thing that irritated me about this format, and it was true of Snake Eye, it was true of Yubel, it was true of Tenpai, which were like the three big decks the entire year, was that all of them felt like you would just count up the number of points of interaction you have in your hand. Like
Yeah.
20 like you said, Doug, in 2023 they pivoted so far away from like individual single target negation determining the outcome of a game, and in 2024 it was like if you have an Ash Blossom for the Ash, if you have a Veiler for the Poplar, you win. If you don't, you lose. And it's so many games just felt determined by like what ratio of starters and extenders did you draw, and so few felt like they were like totally skill intensive. Obviously, you know, I'm speaking from the position of someone who wasn't like a top player. I'm sure it's different if you are a top player, but I was very, very frustrated.
I don't even
like,
think, I mean, I think give yourself some more credit, because I vividly remember from this time period watching a Joshua Schmidt video going over the finals of a YCS saying exactly what you're saying about points of interaction. And he went through the whole finals and said, there is not a single moment in here where a player made like a misplay or had an opportunity for player expression. It literally is, do you have the out for Ash? Do you have the out for Poplar? If not, I've won the game. And it just
that's what killed it for me too. Because in 2023, I had this fire lit because I wanted a top really bad, and I was like practicing a shitload, and I could see myself getting better every single time. During this format, terrible, awful players could just take games off you by just having like 2 Veilers in their opener, and it really kills a lot of motivation to like understand that so many of these games are going to come down to deck construction, which is something I really don't care about. I care about like in-game decision making. So I was really let down by this format. I think it was super boring. The Fiendsmith stuff patched a lot of the issues I had in that, like, when Moon came out, you then had a backup that you could go to, but like the end board that included Fiendsmith was so boring that I didn't really care about it anyway.
Fiendsmith really drove that deck over the edge as well, because now you needed like 3 interactions to actually like genuinely
you're back.
Snake Eye deck.
It's been a while since I last saw you.
Yubel wasn't very
concerned.
like much fun to play either. And Tenpai was a slot machine. It's literally just like, okay, do I have an out for this? Do I have an out for that? Do I have an out for that? And it's not like fun to play against either. It's like, okay, Droplet, Regeki, Lightning Sword,
In fact,
Chandra. It's like, okay, well,
its clarity was just
it is what it
so-so,
is.
I
but
do like
good
the things people were
faceting
doing with
techniques
Fiendsmith.
work
I do like the
magic.
WCQ. Like
Is that the
when
Beast Steel's
first released, and they were playing like I think it's actually Cam Neal, that Magical Musketeer deck. That was so fucking cool. There are a couple of decks like that in like the points playoff from the NAWCQ that year. But outside of that, I mean, this year was kind of a bust for me. I would put it in C. I don't think it was so bad that I would not play it again or whatever. I think there was a lot of fun, good Yu-Gi-Oh! I played, and there were a lot of like decks that weren't top tier, like Ritual Beast. I thought was really interesting. People were still playing Fire
I
King,
should
which is a
take my
blast
new
to play
tap
with
dancing
again.
ice cream truck out for a test drive.
This is when people started jamming White Forest, which is like a fun like combo deck to build in the vacuum. I just didn't like.
Are you here to see
we're
me
scraping
cheat?
the bottom of the barrel if we're
Feel free to take
breaking
the
up White
time to
Forest.
look
Yeah, I
at the
mean,
new
still, I
supplies,
think
too.
that's a. And then, okay, so the other thing that puts it not in D for me is at the end of the year, Crossover Breakers released. And I mean, we'll probably talk about that mostly in 2025 because it's like the end of the year, but I liked it.
Oh my god, dude.
Why do you not like Rising?
I think these cards exemplify the worst part of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Wait,
card design.
okay, I can understand Malice, but I need to understand your take on Rising. Why do you hate that so much?
Oh, I mean, I just don't think that, like, I don't know. I guess that's just what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is now, and you just got to get used to it. But I think that, 2024, 2025 is where we're seeing this card design of every single card is an extender and a starter, and, it just
You play
does-
Exo Sister.
No, like, I'm not saying, well, see, I'm not trying to say, like, I don't think it's fair to, like, I'm not saying from my perspective, because, like, I just think that, I mean, I think a lot of people even nowadays are complaining about Malice. I think they're cards that are very difficult to interact with. I think they're archetypes that don't
What the
really
fuck,
have
man?
choke points anymore, where even Snake Eyes had a couple choke points, sort of. I don't know. I felt like Crossover Breakers was...
I can really see that, and I think that it's like one of the like you worded it really well, where it's like the starter and extender all do like the same thing. It's like one of the most
And removal. I mean, some of these cards, I mean,
Yeah.
it's putting in a guy in grave that negates a guy, and it
I guess
special
Priscilla
summons
and
it's
Catherine
certain- I
does
don't
do
know, it just-
magic performances.
So I think it's like this weird symptom of like just the end of 2024 into 25 5, where like the modern card design is feeling like you're saying, every card is a starter and an extender, and it does something else. It's like everything is like 3 lines, 3 separate individual, really good pieces of text on them. And on top of that, it's like the most frustrating part is like when you hand trap something, you want it to be able to meaningfully end like the end boards, right? Whereas like if you hand trap Dormouse, you would hope that like the end board gets worse, but they can just draw a guy that like March here to extend with like a White Rabbit or something, and it just does the same thing. The end board doesn't change, and that was like really frustrating. Like Ryziel was like maybe not as bad because you hand trap dual drive, like that does meaningfully.
Yeah, that is true. I guess that was like the biggest choke point.
I don't know.
I do understand what you're saying.
I would still put this year in C tier. I think that there were a lot of bright spots. I think like
I don't
pretending
think
that
Crystal
something
and
like
Tetra can
Snake
take the
Eye
bird
was
back
as frustrating as
for their
something like
performances
Firewall
anymore.
is pretty good.
They'll have to train a new one.
And I
Definitely,
think that
it's a C tier.
the second half of this year has been, I think they've really come around on.
Oh wait, sorry,
card
I'm still
design.
talking about 2024. That's how I feel.
Sorry.
Okay, 25.
Mark, if you wanna move 24 up,
You wanna put it in that is that is great. Okay, I'll do it just for you because I didn't actually play 24, but holy crap, that's gonna take.
Yeah,
I
two
think
people who didn't play in 2024
our-
tell me where to put it. Come on.
No,
Well, no, I mean,
fair
I think
enough, fair
Nadir and
enough.
I are in a little bit of, are we old
But that's
men
why.
yelling at clouds?
Yeah, but like Joseph,
I
you need to
don't know.
understand that's why 2024 is like D for us. Like that's when me and Doug like really.
Yeah, 'cause
We
you
thought it
listen to
was
a bunch
so
of YouTubers.
bad we stopped playing.
Yeah, it was
Doug
so bad.
listened to
we
this
stopped-
YouTuber called Farfa, and Farfa listened to this YouTuber called Doug.
Okay, so this is one of those like things, Joseph, where you kind of mentioned where it's like you played the most, like you were at your absolute best as a player in 2024. So
Sorry
ask
that my
yourself-
lived experience doesn't matter to you. Yeah.
No. Look at it this way. So I think that for you personally, because of your mentality at the time, I think irrespective of what the card pool is, you're going to have like liked it more, right? Because that's.
I mean, you
what's
can
right.
see that on the list, though, with all of these. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
2014, 2019, 2016, these are, I don't know. I mean, I guess we're trying to be, I mean, no, this is a subjective rating. That's why.
I mean, no, the year that I have my best finish is 2017. You know, there it is. It's 2025. I do want to echo a lot of what you all are saying about Ryziel and Mel's. I think those two decks are, being the best decks, are
The evening
really
breeze
frustrating.
is just blowing through the window
It is hard to get
curtains.
super mad at
On the other
Ryziel
side of the
because, like,
river is
I didn't hate
lit
Ryziel,
just
whatever.
right.
what does Ryziel really do? It is
You
easy
always
to get
manage
mad
to
at
appear
Malice
when my
because Josh
heart is
Richmond told
bent.
everyone to. But it also does put up a 10-4 that is just so irritating and aggressive.
Dude, you say that, if you put an 8 in Master Duel and he had to play against Malice, it would kill it.
Well, Master Duel's different, you know, it's bad. So...
Ness told me that this
the
is the
frustrating
gear
part about
only a
Malice's
mage gets
existence
to
is
have.
also, like,
The bigger the hat, the
availability of
higher the
Meow
bonus
and,
stats.
Lancia
I want
in the
one
side
too,
deck,
Chief.
like 30% in boarded games or non-games. I remember I bought into Malice at release, and I played it for 2 weeks, and I was like, I can't play this. It's just so unfun.
There's like 9 silver bullets in the side deck for you. Like
Yeah, I
Lancia,
picked up
Chaos
Ryziel,
Hunter.
and I had a blast. But...
Well, because
But I will also admit, early Ryziel is not fucking fun. Like, a Ryziel end board that's like duo drive, detonator, cross, that's like, okay, that's not a big deal. Like, to me, that's totally fine to expect someone to play through. But early Ryziel, they were doing the fucking hand loops. They were setting up Castell and Harpy's Feather storming you. Like, it was the most boring, miserable shit. Again, it's really hard to talk about because after the halfway point of the year, they accidentally created the best format in modern memory with Justice Hunters. I think Draco Tail and
Real quick, just
Vanquish
before
Soul-
that, I think it's
yeah.
important to mention Mitsurugi.
Yeah, Mitsurugi came out first half of the year as well. I don't know about you all, I have no problem with Mitsurugi.
I like
think
Mitsu.
it's cool that it's a splashable engine in a lot of decks that does something. You know, I don't think the cap on its plays is so high that
I
It's
both
a
think it's
Raigeki.
good in that for a
And the-
long
and the
time people
discard.
had been begging for another TCG exclusive archetype that like
then
actually
Omni
did
negate,
something, because up
if you're
until this
willing
point
to
in the recent
play a
years,
brick
I mean, as I was going
or
through these
two.
packs, I was seeing that, but the B Troopers, the Gold Prides, the War Rocks, they were just flopping after flopping after flopping, and people were thinking back to Bravus and Dangerous.
Respect
and
I
Beat
that
don't
kind of
Troopers.
stuff.
personally agree.
I mean,
with the fact that
I
it's
love
fine.
Beat Troopers. I spent way too much money on a Quaggar Hercules, so trust me, I like Beat Troopers a lot. But like, you know, I think it's a little. I think those cards are overtuned. I think that they are a little unfun to play against, or at least
They
unfun
banned
to
Feral.
watch
It's
the
not
combo
because
resolve for the
of the
100th
bridging
time.
for Ryzeal,
Um,
I think
but,
actually the
because they
gameplay they
wanted people to
facilitate is
play
really
other
interesting.
decks with
I think that
Mitsurugi
like
instead.
they open up
Like
a lot of
Yummy.
opportunities for you to take advantage of it. If
Now
you
they
have like a
want
DD
people to
Crow,
play
you can
Ashland, so they banned
play around
Herald of the
prayer
Arclight.
super easily. If you can force out the tribute early, there's times when you like activate something into
I
a
was my
copy of
thing always max.
Murakumo that you don't want to resolve, and then you don't pay, so you can like take it, and then I just think there's like so much cool stuff you can do with the cards, and I appreciate they exist.
is this a stretch? Is this a guy seeing his second movie after Boss Baby moment, or can I say that the Mitsurugis kind of do remind me of the Zodiacs and being splashed into so many different decks that have, you know, they can do a lot of different things. They can make the
Yeah.
Trident plus a rank 4 Mitsurugi, you know, goes into, I mean, anything really,
Just
literally
that one
anything.
It makes it
Fire.
rank. I mean, the
Makes a
Mitsurugi
rank
stuff
4, makes a
It's
rank
definitely
8.
not this game.
a rank 4 and a rank 8, or a rank
Yeah.
4 and like the Rigeki.
I think that's what's like so frustrating about
I can
it,
play
right?
this.
It's like you can hand trap or attempt to hand trap like Ryzeal, and they would still be able to like meaningfully end on something, and then they would like
Yeah.
still be able to like.
I mean, King of the
Kabakiri.
Feral Imps is a poorly designed. I mean, not poorly
they did
designed in the
ban
context
King
of
of the
when it
Feral Imps for
released,
this,
but
But again, halfway through the year, they release Justice Hunters, and I had all three of those decks: the Vanquish Soul K9 deck, the Yummy Mitsurugi deck, but now
No,
just the
K9.
Yummy deck, and the Draco Tail deck. Love them. I think they're all great. The only one I kind of have a problem with is Yummy, because like it just gets to play and play and play. But the way that it plays is like so layered. Its interactions come from different places. There are meaningful opportunities to
I should
interact
have
with
this
it.
at level 90.
And importantly,
look at the base Yummy end board. Like, what is it? It's like a bounce, a Book of Moon, right? Like, I
well,
think,
if it's
I think
if
the-
it's
I mean, that's a
uninterrupted,
little
it's like
bit
9
underselling
points of
it, let's
interaction.
be honest.
Yeah.
You know what
If
I
it's-
liked about the, and I mean, people can talk about the Jush archetypes all the time, and I think a lot of people agree that they're well balanced. But specifically, what I was thinking, because this is a time when I, you know, did try to get back into the TCG, and I've been playing Master Duel more competitive. I think Draco Tail is such a great deck. That's not a hot take. But I will say what I like about those cards is that they all have clear drawbacks in ways that I don't think they would have if they were released in 2024. I like that the Draco Tail cards only trigger when they're sent by a fusion summon. I think if they were released in a different era, they might have triggered, maybe not whenever it's sent to the graveyard, but sent to the graveyard by a card effect. I like that the Yummy cards have to respond to a card effect. I like the K9 cards only really work, well, okay, but I like that Izuna as a hand trap is cool in terms of you can use it turn 0, but you can play around it. It's not, and I think that was something that I found, I thought I was missing from 2024, was that I felt like no cards had any descriptions whatsoever, and I think that there are some cards that are team. I'm not the biggest fan of Mitsurugi. I can understand where you guys are coming from, and I understand why people like them, but like, yeah, I just feel like those archetypes were designed in ways that they had drawbacks, and we hadn't seen that in a little bit. And, you know, you can make cards that are super powerful and also make them not just ubiquitously, like the most powerful thing at every step with no counterplay and no choke points. I think that the Jush, I'm not sure when they designed those cards or how much thought went into them compared to the previous year of design, but
Just buy from the
I'm really
Stardust
happy with
Exchange.
what they did with that pack.
I'll be honest. The other stuff in the sets that came out in 2025 is also really interesting. Like
There it is.
the art mages
Mage?
aren't parallel or aren't powerful now, right? You know, the cool tunes aren't powerful now, but like in the next set, there's all this new cool shit for them. So like
Radiant
it lays the
Typhoon.
groundwork for more archetypes that conform to that type of design, where like they have turn 0 plays, they're interruptible in meaningful ways. The end board isn't so like choking the life out of the format that you can't play into it. I like it.
I love all of the Josh decks. I think all of them are well designed for all the reasons Doug mentioned. I will say that Ripper specifically is maybe a little overboard. Maybe they could have made it just like opponent's turn you could negate a hand effect or something.
Everybody
Just, like
stand back!
getting hand trapped and then just setting up Ripper to get a plus and also prevent further hand, I think is really obnoxious. Yummy, I think is fine. I think it's pretty well balanced deck. It does get maybe a little bit overboard with Mitsurugi, but I think for the most part, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's relatively easy to play against. Some of the more issues that I have with it is probably something like Herald bridging to Mitsurugi and also just being an Omni negate.
Thank
mana.
God
Yeah,
we
I mean,
finally
Herald's
got
just
that
a
out of the fucking
Poorly
format.
designed card.
Yeah. And I will say as well that I think one of the most underrated aspects of Draco Tail isn't necessarily like that it is sort of like fair in some ways. I just like how short the turn is for the most part. Like there is a lot to be said about how boring it can be to just hand trap someone once and then they just have the exact extended that plays through the hand trap and does the same end board. So you hand loop yourself. But then they just sit there and it's like 10 minutes of you just waiting for your turn to see your top deck if it can crack like the 4 interactions they set up through it. Draco Tail has a choke point of 3 summons. You have Rahu, you have Ketu, you have Phimena, maybe a Verte and like Masdu or something. And like when you hand trap that deck or stop one of those points of interactions, you meaningfully reduce the number of end point interactions that it has, or one of its like main components, which is one of those fusion summons, right? And I think that's an important way to stop a deck, and I think it's an important part of like gameplay for new players, especially, is like the duration of the turns as well. So I love all of those decks. I think all of them are fun and interesting in diverse different ways. But I guess it might be a little bit controversial because they are the decks that introduced turn zero games. And I think that
that's
This
point
one's got your name on it!
Bring up about the amount of, specifically the Ketu, like how many summons they have, because thinking back to, what's my problem with Ryziel, blah, 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 I don't know. I guess people like that deck, I'm just wrong, but with the Malice and the Ryziel cards and a lot of the cards released in the last year, I felt like the issue is that they do everything, every single one of them can summon themselves for free and then do a bonus effect. It didn't feel like there was, I guess that's like archetype identity or whatever, but I think a deck like Draco Tail does it so much better where you have, it's not like every card is a Femina. It's not like every card is a Malulu and that kind of thing. And I think that can sometimes be my problem with, I don't know, I guess I'm just describing an archetype, but I felt like sometimes the decks got a little too samey, where it just feels like every game is the exact same, where I feel like, I don't know, I think for me, like the best, like a good Yu-Gi-Oh format is one where you can let your opponent combo, or if they combo, you still have a chance of playing through it. And, that's not always the case. But I think in 2025, there's a lot of good Yu-Gi-Oh to be had.
A tier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's really
I think that's
funny? I
reasonable.
don't know if you've noticed a pattern emerging here. So if you want an A tier format in Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to play once every 3 years. And if you want a bad year of Yu-Gi-Oh, you also have to play once in every 3 years.
Dude, that's hilarious.
That is pretty funny. Cycle.
And if you want to have a really bad year, play during worldwide pandemic.
Yeah.
Zodiac is what I'm referring to. Also COVID.
I'm surprised there isn't more S tier formats. I guess like A is like some of those are close to S.
We have to agree on it, right?
Me
Also,
personally, I would put a
Started-
lot of the A's in S, but I know you all have a
I
big old
would
boner
be down
for
to
Duelist
put
Alliance.
19. I would be down to put this in S if you are like.
Well, of course, but I
enjoying
think
Need at
one
least
of
one
the
more
reasons is
Netland
just that it's
character so
hard to
then Sherma we was actually at
encapsulate
her
an
full
entire
potential.
year.
Yeah, yeah,
with
exactly.
Because
No,
a
I
lot
think
of
of the
these,
ones we have, I think
Otherwise, it
2014
just
is
feels
probably,
kind
like,
of
the one I
wrong,
would feel most
even if
comfortable
she is
putting in
already
S.
pretty strong.
this
just
kind
on
of comes
her
up in a
own.
lot of these types of things, but
What am I
I
doing?
feel so weird because it's almost like Yu-Gi-Oh years should be broken up like school years, where it's
Yeah.
really like
Around
it's
worlds.
always two. It should be a season. I mean, I'm not saying this video wasn't a good idea, but I'm saying it's always difficult talking about years because
yeah.
it seems like there's such a division between pre-WCQs and post-WCQs.
I mean, what was the massive one here, right?
Control
I think it was the enforced power of the elements is like a whole different like.
I mean, not even. I mean, I think Duelist Alliance is like that. I think
Yeah,
that
sure.
Inov is like that. I think that a lot of these ones were. I mean, the spiral format. I think a lot of formats are defined by their third core set.
Well,
All right, well,
this was a mammoth.
this was a fucking 12-hour video. We'll see how it cuts down.
Thanks,
My
guys, for
cat's licking
joining
his
me.
balls in the background. Sorry, Blood. Let me move him around. Let me move him out of the way.
If you enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! Through any of these time periods and you have memories to share of your fondest formats or even least favorite formats, leave a comment down below, get involved with the discussion. I'd be interested to see what some of you observing and reading will think about this. Thanks, of course, to Joseph and Doug for joining for this and sharing their experiences as well. This was a nice little trip down memory lane.
It's always good doing a podcast with the bros.
Fuck you. Bye.
I'm still missing one more. The tracker fucking sucks.
Rev the engines!
Quick as a flash! Start the clock!
Rise with the sun!
Hey there! Hey there!
Hello everybody, Nitsa Gamer here to film an epic adventure on a tight budget. Super Mario 64 is an innovative game at its time, full of invisible walls, frame-perfect wall kicking, and a terrible camera operator. Since we're on a tight budget, we're gonna fire Lakitu as the main camera operator and rely on a wonderful invention called a tripod. Can you beat Super Mario 64 with a fixed camera? Super Mario 64 is a game that has been done to death when it comes to challenge runs, especially when it comes to what the A-button challenge community can pull off. There's pretty much nothing we can do with this game that nobody has done before. Or is there a challenge run still yet to be done? Being one of my favorite childhood games of all time, and quite possibly the very first video game I've ever played since I was 3 years old, I know I definitely have to do a run on this classic game at some point. And little did I expect, the only idea I can possibly do is by utilizing a game mechanic that nobody uses, having the camera at a fixed position. For those who don't know, in Super Mario 64, you can control the camera by pressing the C buttons, with 2 different zoom options and C up to go into look mode. But if you press the R button, you can go into Mario mode where the camera always focuses on Mario's back, or it gradually turns to Mario's back when zoomed out. The latter in particular is usually ideal when you're playing ROM hacks of this game. While this game is often met with critical acclaim, the camera feature is often the make or break deal for some people. As someone who grew up with this game personally, I actually don't mind the camera at all, and it hardly ever becomes an issue for me. However, the lesser-known game mechanic comes in the form of the fixed camera. By pausing the game in a random course, you can change the camera angle with R from Lakitu to Mario to Lakitu to stop, and the challenge is to play the entire game while in stop mode. However, unlike Mario mode where you can switch to it by pressing the R button, stop mode requires you to hold the R button down, making it a less than ideal experience. In fact, I don't even think there's really a scenario in this game where having a fixed camera angle is useful. If anything, it's useless and more detrimental. So, why not see how the game is if we play the entire game this way? This challenge will be completed if we defeat Gay Bowser in the sky and rescue Peach. As you can tell, this is a run where doing it as a tool-assisted speedrun is no problem. So this is more or less what a human can pull off and physically see. There will be more to the rules, but I will explain them as we go along. So, let's get this run started. We start a new game, perform Lakitu skip because he's fired, and you might already notice a problem. I don't have the camera fixed at all, and that's because by default, we're in Lakitu to Mario mode, and we can only change to Lakitu to stop mode inside a course. There's no option on the file select menu to change the camera settings outside of audio, and the pause menu in the castle hub only shows us what stars we've collected. So, to make this run valid, we have to enter a course, change the camera settings, exit the course to the castle foyer, and the run is a go from there. However, the game won't save the setting and will revert back to Lakitu to Mario setting if we get a game over, save and exit, or reset the console. It should be noted that while the fixed camera angle works outside of the castle, the fixed camera has no effect indoors. Because of this, having no fixed camera will not violate the rules while inside the castle. And collecting the Toad Stars and the 2 stars from Nips is fair game. So let's get started with Bob Off Battlefield. We have to have the R button completely pressed down the entire time before we enter the course, so use your imagination how to go about this. Now, you might be thinking, well, this is not going to be fun. Are you seriously going to play the entire course from this one fixed position? Actually, no. There are ways to move the tripod around the course. We can read signs, activate certain text boxes, shoot out of cannons, use hidden teleports, go through doors, make stars appear, and collect the 100 coin star to change our fixed position. And interacting with these will cause the camera to move around the course, so that way we have more than one possible position to work with. You definitely want to have these cannons and signs memorized so you can manipulate the tripod around the map, allowing you to see what you're doing. Because while this is a great 3D Mario game, the depth perception is not always great. And at a faraway distance from the camera, it's sometimes hard to tell where we are sometimes, and navigating is not always a piece of cake. For example, trying to read the sign near the chain chomp is a pain in the ass as we have poor depth perception. But by simply pausing the game, we can sometimes get a workable view that shows us where Mario is, allowing us to navigate areas without constantly blind guessing. Unfortunately, this trick will not always be reliable. Some views will not show us where Mario is at all, and sometimes pausing only dims the screen where the camera is already pointing at. But for stages where we can use this pausing trick, it'll be helpful in helping us navigate areas we're completely blind to or lack depth perception of. So once we read the sign by Chain Chomp by using pausing to help ourselves get to it, we can get a better view of the flower bed on the right side and use the flower bed to teleport to the other side of the map. From here, we just run up the steep slope and use it pausing to navigate ourselves to the alcove in the mountain to teleport ourselves to the upper alcove. From there, we jump up to King Bob, and thankfully this fight is no different than a casual playthrough, as we can actually see whose butt we're hurling to this royal turf. With our first star collected, we now race Koopa the Quick, who I thought was going to be near impossible, but actually turns out to be very easy. Just take the same route as I took for the first star by reading the signpost near Chain Chomp, use the flower bed to teleport, and the mountain alcove to teleport, and you can reach the flank with plenty of time to spare. Also, interesting fact, time apparently advances while you're reading signs. So you could read signs to make Koopa the Quick look less quick than he claims himself to be. With Star 2 collected, we blast ourselves to the island in the sky, and while we're somewhat blind and looking under the island, you can pause and find yourself a sign to read, hit the star block, or shoot out of the cannon at the tree to keep the camera level with the island. Easy grab for Star 3.
Hello.
Star 4 requires us to
your
collect the 8
garden,
red coins,
so it is
and
my
usually
turn to
when I
put
do
you
a
first.
playthrough of this game, I always get the 100 coin star alongside
Sure.
the 8 red coins,
might need
since
you
the
to
8
start
red
us out
coins is
even when I was
incremented in
with
my
the
coin
Fatui.
count by
I
16
mostly
anyway.
sat in a corner
This
during
was
most
definitely
of the
the
topics were
hardest
boring
part of
anyway.
Baba Battlefield.
Someone wants
Not only do I
this,
have
or
to
to
challenge
fight for
myself
that,
with the lack of depth
and
perception,
nobody would
but I
get
gotta
more
worry
vexing
about
with
making
having
sure I
sometimes
collect
seek
drop
out
coins
my
from
opinion.
Goombas, and
My eyes were
especially
always
the
closed,
Bobobs who can
and so
just
they assumed that
self-destruct
I was
because they
listening
want
in
Mario's
silence.
cake. We also need to make sure that we grab
Most of the
some
time,
coins
I
when we
was
shoot from the
sleeping,
island in the sky,
or
as we
simply not
don't want to
thinking
collect the
about anything
100
at
coin
all.
star up
But
here.
responding was
No
It'll be
thought
easier to collect
and
these coins
empathy.
with the
Times
wing
like
cap
those,
activated,
I would
as
pick one
the
of the
moment you land
questionnaires
back
and
on the
indicate that
ground,
they were
our
right.
camera is
That
stuck
always
on the
did the
island,
trick.
and we have
If
to
the grader or
blindly
the
find
rooster were
ourselves a
arguing,
sign to read
I'd side with
or
the
a
latter.
cannon to jump into.
And if the doctor and
Thankfully,
Arlecchino
pausing
were
comes in
lodged into
handy
the
in helping
captain
us
was
find a
always in the
cannon
right.
for the
And
most part.
Sandrone could be quite
It took a
stubborn.
lot of
She was
annoying camera
generally right,
changes
and if
and
the
poor
captain
depth
and Sandrone were to
perception,
ask me
or
at the same
literally being
time,
blinded from seeing what the hell we're doing.
They're
But with
both very
patience, we can
independent-minded.
collect the 100
My
coin star
opinions would not
and the
alter their
red coin
judgment.
star, no problem.
What,
Star
did you want
5
to
is
talk to
Mario
me
Wings
about
to the
again?
Sky, which requires the wing cap, but we can instead
Is
collect
that
Chain
so?
Chomp Star, albeit a
Well,
bit painfully
I'm
as he's a
glad
big
you're
bad
Okay,
dog.
what? Columbina's
With
way
one
too
star
used to
left
being with
uncollected for
herself.
now,
Like,
we
holy
go to
shit.
the Princess's
She's straight
Secret
up a Let's
Slide,
Player,
and,
how she just
well,
started
both
talking
stars
about
are going to be a
on,
no-go.
on,
While
about
sure,
her
I
life
have
on
the
her
layout of the
own.
slide
Hide their
memorized by
thoughts.
memory, I
Let's
have no
play.
way of navigating it
Tell me a
blindly
story.
without being able to see when
want to
and
sleep.
where to turn.
There's
The only
something
camera
nice over
positions I
there.
can work with is the
Seen through
one at the
their
start
eyes.
of the level
The world
and
is
by reading the
simple
sign.
and
But no matter
beautiful.
how far down the slide I go, the upper area doesn't unload, nor does the camera
Hello,
clip
traveler.
through the floor so I can see
So,
what I'm
this is
doing.
where you live.
Unless
Is
I get
this a good time
insanely
for a
lucky,
visit?
both the
I only
secret
asked.
slide star and the star collected when you reach the finish in under 21 seconds is a no-go.
Doing nothing
Next
at all
is
sounds
Womp's Fortress.
Most
There
people
are
live no
thankfully a
longer
number
than
of moments
100
where we can
years.
change the camera
So
position,
there's no point
including
losing
using
sleep,
a
but
teleport.
live
Now,
long
in terms
enough
of getting
and
to
you
the
learn that
top
only
of the
you can
fortress,
dedicate
there's
1/10 of your
thankfully
time
multiple
to the
ways of doing
important
it,
things.
though I
But
did
when
do
it
it the
comes to
hard
the
way by
but
pausing
that's
and
just a
blindly
general
getting
rule,
onto the
okay?
elevator to get
Not
me
a
up to the
comment on my
boss.
age.
Thankfully, the text box
I
with
guess
Womp
you're
allowed me
right.
to see myself ground
Maybe
pounding
my
through his
life is
mouth,
just
out his butt, and
less
pounding his
interesting.
butt. No, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
need to
just like the
rephrase that, because
detectives
that's
from those
literally what
Fontaine
Mario is
crime
doing.
novels.
We beat the
I
Womp King
suppose there are
easily
people
and
like
nabbed
that
the
in
first
real
star.
life, too.
The second star, I
Actually,
read the
crime
signpost
novels
near
only
the second
chronicle a
piranha
small-
plant, and by doing a
realistically, the
side
cases
flip,
only
wall
last a
kick,
few
and a
days,
dive,
so
I can get
who
up to
knows?
one of the floating
Maybe
islands,
they're just killing
launch up to
time
the
in between
tower, and
important events
navigate
like the
myself
rest.
up
Huh.
the tower.
Well,
Thankfully,
when you
any
put it that
platforms that
way-
move in and out of the tower all move
Okay,
in and out
I'm
at the
begging
same
you.
time,
Don't
so
give
it
me
was
that
not
look.
hard to blindly
See, Lolly is
navigate around the
nihilism,
tower
but I'm
while
fine.
doing a little bit
At
of
my
pausing
age, I
and
don't need
eventually
people
collecting
fretting over
Star
me.
2. At this point, we have
Anyway,
enough stars
it
to
doesn't
face up
matter.
against Gay
Come on,
Bowser, but
let's go
I
for-
kept going
Well,
with Wom's Fortress
what are
for
you
now.
waiting for?
Shoot into the Wild Blue was easy. The Cage Star required me to pay attention to Mario's shadow, so the moment I see a shadow, I release from the
This is your
owl and
garden.
ground pound so I fall straight down into the star. Blast away the wall is easy, and now we reach the
I'm already
hardest
here
star,
as your guest.
collecting all 8 red
Would it
coins.
really be a-
Though honestly,
Very
collecting
well
7
then.
of them is not so
King
bad.
Plouma
I got the
said that
100
she would
coin star no
introduce me to the
problem,
Frost Moon
but the
Scions of
one red
today.
coin that gave me the
In the
most
hope that
trouble
I
was
might
one of the
integrate into
island
this
red
family.
coins, as
I'm
I had
glad she
no
said
good
so,
angle to
but
view this
I
platform,
rarely
and failing
interact
to
much
land
with
on it properly
strangers.
resulted in me
So
falling
I
to my
worried,
death.
could you
And
help
trying to
me
land on it with the owl was
rehearse?
hard due to the severe
simple.
lack of depth perception.
Ask me questions that the
Eventually, I
Scions
knocked over
might
the
ask,
wooden bridge
and I
and
will answer.
slowly but surely made my
I
way to the
know.
coin. And from here, the rest of the red coins
This
were
is a
easy to
rare
collect, and
opportunity,
there you go.
and
All of
let's
Wom's
begin.
Fortress stars are humanly
I
possible
will.
to collect with a fixed camera angle by a human player.
I'll travel,
Since I
won't
had more than 10
That
stars,
means I'll
I could
leave.
access the Tower of the Wing Cap course. From here, I can safely fly down and
see.
activate the Wing Cap
will
locks.
be clear.
Now, in terms of collecting the 8 red coins here, yeah, that's not happening. Even though we can see all of the red coins from this
No.
view, the severe lack of depth perception is
child
what
happens
makes
to be
this
a
star
Renhorn
too
deer.
brutal to collect. And since this
Very
is
well.
just 1 star out of
Well,
120, we just gotta hope that
Sandrone
we're
of the
able to
Fatui
collect at least
and
70 stars so
Arlecchino,
we
too.
can face up against Gay
They are quite
Bowser.
curious as
With
to
the
my
wing
life
cap
here.
available, I
That's
go back to Baba
impossible.
Battlefield and complete Star
I
5,
mustn't see.
no problem. Collected
Would they
every
not
single
approve?
star in Baba Battlefield.
I see.
Next, I do Cool Mountain,
In that
and stars
case,
1 and 3.
I'd like to
Right away, I
invite
can confirm
Malas,
are a
Mr.
no-go.
Albedo, and
While
Miss
we can
Nicole.
jump into the chimney, no
Malas and
Nicole's
problem.
a little
The
Albedo
camera
difficult.
angle we get at the start or
Oh,
from
Miss
reading
Nicole
the
is a
sign
gifted writer.
does not give us a good
like
view of
them
the
to
slide.
Malaus and
And while
Albedo
we could
should
use
be
the
easy enough.
penguin to give us a
Malaus
different
would
camera
be the
angle
easiest one
potentially,
to invite.
that penguin will not spawn in unless we collect star 1, even if we select a
Man,
later star
how would you
we already
introduce
completed.
Malaus to anyone
So with
else?
stars 1 and 3 being a no-go,
Yo, this is
I do the little
Malaus.
penguin lost
She's
star
my
where I
baby
had
I
to mostly get
birthed
Tuxie to her
from
mother
fucking
completely blind.
however,
Well, thanks to
whatever
the
you
power
call
of
it
pausing
when you
to see where I'm
procreate on your
going,
own.
we can at least slide
Via
and fall
osmosis.
ourselves down towards Mom. However, I lose Tuxie upon falling into the snow,
Yes,
and pausing
and as for
does not give me a
Sandrone
good
and
view of
Arlecchino,
Mario or
I shall
Tuxie.
sneak them in
But
when the
thankfully,
opportunity
initiating a
presents
conversation
itself.
with Mom allowed
And I
me to
will
change
not.
the camera position so I can pick up Tuxie and
We
give
should
her back
practice
to
more if we
Mama.
have the chance.
Upon the star spawning, I, of course, do Super Mario 64 tradition by dropping a baby penguin off the ledge in front of her mother before collecting the star. Now, there's no way in heck I'm collecting the 100 coin star, as I definitely need to collect some coins off of the slide to make that star doable. But I did go out of my way to collect the 8 red coins, most of which I had to do blindly, making use of any
Damn,
signs or
that's
teleport
impressive.
to give me a decent angle to work with. While challenging and required 100 pauses, I managed to collect all 8 red coins, completing that star. Now, usually
Okay,
to
good
complete the
people
snowman's
know
lost head,
what's
you'd
more
select
important.
star 5 from the star select menu. However, despite completing
The
the
base
8 red
damage
coin
is
star, which is star
stronger
4, we cannot
and more
select star
important.
5 till we
Time with
collect
Espina,
both
that
stars
carrying an
1 and
unreliable
3,
weapon
so
is
star
the
5 is
multiplier.
inaccessible. So, other than the 100 coin star and the 2 slide stars, we got the wall kicks will work, and let me just say, I could not get the star to work for me. While I could get down there by jumping on a spin drift and flying down there, which took about 3 tries, no thanks to me hitting an invisible wall that happens to be around here. But even if I get down here, I have no way of seeing what I'm doing or being able to do a perfect wall kick to get up to the star. There is a sign down here to potentially give me a better camera angle. However, it's not in view while pausing, and it's too close to the edge, making falling off too likely. So while this star might be possible by a human player, you gotta have really good precision with your wall kicks, which is hard to do when you can't see what you're doing, and it's already hard enough doing it as is when you're playing the game intentionally. So in total, I can only collect 2 stars in Kugel Mountain, which is not good, but better than nothing. Next, we complete the secret aquarium star, no problem. Then we reach Jolly Roger Bay. And while we could read this sign where the pink Lala Buddy will usually spawn on later stars, we also don't have access to the cannon or a good angle to see what is down below where the sunken ship is. And this is one of those portions where pausing does not help us at all. It only gives what the camera is already looking at. So pausing is useless. However, if I could hit the block near the pillars to spawn star 5, we could not only collect that star, but also change the camera position. So how the heck is that doable if the cannon is unavailable? Well, by swimming up to one of the poles, we can perform a trick called frame walking. When a slope is too steep, you slide down it. However, if we flick the control stick up and to its neutral position repeatedly every frame, we can walk up the slope. And no, this is not task exclusive. A human can definitely do this trick. Although this trick is easier if you perform it on a keyboard or D-pad than the control stick. With this trick, we can walk up the pole, and while I couldn't exactly grab onto it, I could slide down on the other end of the pole and jump from the pole to the ledge where the blast to the stone pillar star is, and since I made it, I might as well collect it. Now as for collecting the first star, we perform the same trick again, break the block with the star in it, and doing so will give ourselves a better position to see the entrance to inside the sunken ship. So we swim down, swim back up, then swim down again so the eel comes out of the window. And while we could see the window, it could be very tricky to see, and with the bad depth perception, it's hard to see if we're going inside the loading zone. Eventually I pull it off and open the chest in order. No, the third chest will be blocked out of view, making it a little harder to open. But star 1 is a simple star we can obtain, and that's it. Just like Kugel Mountain, I could only collect 2 stars. Seeing how the rest relies on being the Daredevil, we move on to Bowser in the Dark World. Now, there's only 4 possible camera positions to work with. The camera position at the start, the camera position of the signpost at the very end of the level where the warp pipe is, collecting the last red coin, and collecting the 8 red coin star. Now, the 8 red coin star is just one of many optional stars to get, but reaching Gay Bowser is mandatory, so I focus on just getting to Gay Bowser. And let me tell you, this course was quite a challenge to navigate since we are going on higher platforms and are viewing where Mario is from down below. Because of this, we have to rely on pausing. So navigating this course required me to pause pretty much every 2 seconds after moving. The easiest way to get through this course was to long jump my way to the mushroom platform, slowly but surely make my way across the tight bridge, take the Goomba, and use the seesaw platforms to get to the upper ledge and long jump to the switch to activate the stairs. It took a few deaths to pull this off as I refused to do this run with save states. Despite the not-so-ideal camera position, we defeat Gay Bowser easily and grab the basement key. Before accessing any other levels, I made it a priority to unlock the Vanish Cap block first. Once inside the course, I can collect the red coins down the slide no problem, but the rest of the level? Yeah, this is a no-go. Pausing doesn't help at all, and both the Vanish Cap switch and the red coins require me to navigate platforms completely blocked from view by a wall. Yeah, there's no way this is possible for a human. Moving on, we do Big Boo's Haunt next, and to give you the short version, this course is mostly unaffected by the fixed camera position for almost every single star. This is due to the fact that there's a lot of doors in this course, and the game forces the camera to certain positions. The only challenge was getting to the 2 boos in the back room by getting to the back room blindly from the outside without the Vanish Cap, and blindly getting myself back to the entrance doors, which I had to do twice for star 1 and the 100 coin star. The books in the library are out of view by the camera position, but a simple wall kick to the balcony skips the need to go through the library anyways. So I managed to collect every single star, except for star 6, which requires the Vanish Cap to enter. If we had the cap, we could collect the star. But since we have no means of activating the switch, we skip star 6. And for those who are wondering, no, I am not unlocking Luigi at the Elder's Real Fountain because unlike the DS version, Mario is superior to play as. We collect Nips's first star in the basement Toad Star and do Hazy Maze Cave. Now going to the right is a no-go as we are navigating the hallway blindly with endless pits we could easily fall into. But by reading the sign here, we can easily get a view of the door on our left. Now, the swim into the Beast Cavern Star is doable, but we can see one of the problems we will be facing in a couple of courses in this run. By taking the elevator down to where Dory is, pretty much half of the room is not shown and is blocked by a black void. If Mario crosses this void, he becomes invisible too. So I had to wait for Dory to come to us and use him to get us to the first star. Next, we read the side to get a specific camera angle that allows us to see the switch in the water for one of the stars. Using another trick, we can ground pound where the switch is, and we can actually activate the switch without using the metal cap. Now, we only did this to change our camera position so we can still not get a good angle of the doors leading to the metal cap course, but after some trial and error, I managed to use Dory to get me to the cavern of the metal cap. I read the sign at the end of the hallway, and once I got a workable view, this is the moment where blind spots and the lack of depth perception really shines in this challenge run, and annoyingly so. Thankfully, falling into the water is not too bad as long as we don't let the water carry us to the end. But man, was getting this switch annoying since I had no clue where I was and if my jump would make it. After several failed tries, I managed to activate the middle cap switch, and since I was here, I get the remaining red points in the water, which was doable, but freaking annoying as hell as I was doing it with my view completely obstructed. Next, I get the amazing emergency exit star, which didn't require me to go through a maze or take the emergency exit, as I just wall kick up the platform with the block and launch up my way to the star. Watch for rolling rocks was easy, as I just had to build up negative speed for 12 hours straight and travel through parallel universes to get myself the star. Now, as for the other stars, well, I can't get a good enough view with the red coins, and pausing sadly does not help. If I could get to the room from the entrance, I could maybe have a better camera position, but I'm not counting on it. And Star 4 is probably doable since we could enter the emergency exit backwards, but I gave up after 2 failed attempts. And the middle Mario can move, well, even though I got the switch to work before, I couldn't get a workable camera position again no matter how much I read the sign off the closed text box. I don't know what caused me to get it right the first time for the metal cap course, but if I could repeat that again, then Star 3 is definitely possible. But I moved on to Shifting Sandland. Star 2 is easy to get. Stars 3, 4, and 6 inside the pyramid is all possible, though we do have to start from the top of the pyramid to make all the stars easy to get, and it's the only workable camera angle for every star. One of the secrets is out of view, but possible to get, and the iRock battle is simple despite the fixed camera angle. I gave up on collecting the 8 red coins since the depth perception to fly for 4 coins in the sky have been problematic to get, and therefore I left the 100 coin star behind too. So I finished this course after collecting the first star from Klepto. Next I proceeded on to Bowser and the Fire Sea. Or at least try to. However, you have to collect the first star from Dire Dogs to move the loading zone further down the hallway. And no, collected any other star in this course does not count. It is mandatory to complete Board Bowser's sub. So I go swimming down, and once I swim into the tunnel, you can see and start to question if the fixed camera mechanic was really a good idea to have in this game, as you can see the previous map unload and the next map load in. However, remember that black void problem we were facing in the underground of the Hazy Maze Cave? Well, we have the same problem here, except almost the entire submarine is invisible to us, and without us seeing where we are going, we might as well be playing with no eyes. And pausing only dims the screen, so pausing can't save us here. So what can we do? Well, thankfully on the right side there is a sign we can read, and while we can't see the sign, we could see a fire spitter here, so we just gotta not be in the water and kick around the area till we read the sign. And there are coins nearby to give us an idea of how far away we are from the sign. And not gonna lie, This was the worst part of the entire run, as I
need
was
to give
literally
her
blinded from seeing
quest-specific
Mario,
rye.
and I was kicking away on the spot with no clue if I was close to the sign or moving away from it. But after 11 minutes of trial and error, we did it. We read the sign and now can see everything in this room. Well, for the most part. The depth perception and the switch boxes were difficult to walk on, so I just board this up from the rear end and collect the only mandatory star in a casual playthrough of Super Mario 64.
Flowers.
Before facing Game Bowser again, I decided to at least open up the chest in the first room and collect Star 2. And honestly, I'm not confident in collecting the Manta Ray Star, and I really don't want to do that trick again to view the second room, just so I can get the other stars here. So I left Dire Dogs with 2 stars. So now we jump into Bowser and the Fire Sea, and for those who have this course memorized, you know the problem starts when we take the elevator from the first floor up to the second floor. This course has 3 levels we have to navigate to get to Gay Bowser's funnel, and since we can only see the first floor, floors 2 and 3 are 100% blind to us, at least without pausing. So the only way to navigate this course was to pause almost every second. I didn't even bother to try collecting the 8 red coins here and focused on just getting to Gay Bowser. Without a doubt, the hardest part was on floor 3, trying to cross the rising and sinking platforms while amps and flamethrowers were trying to kill us. But with patience, pausing, and common sense, we could get through the poles and slide down Gay Bowser's funnel to blow him up into another bomb and obtain the upstairs key. But before we continue on, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and ding the bell for more It's a Gamer content. Now, back to the challenge. Upstairs, we obtained the second Toad Star, and while yes, I could just skip the 50 and 70 star requirements by doing the backwards long jump glitch up the stairs, I want this run to be possible without the need to use BLJs. So first, we start off in Wet Dry World. This course is honestly one of the best ones to try the fixed camera challenge in, as you really have to consider not only where and how to change the fixed camera, but also consider what water level you should be at and how high you should jump into the painting. Yeah, depending on where you jump into the painting, the course could start at 3 different water levels, with the 3rd level actually being higher than the highest you can normally raise it. Shock and arrow lifts is easy because it's shocking if anyone actually uses the arrow lifts at all unironically. The top of the town is doable, just challenging because you're walking on tight platforms while avoiding enemies. Secrets in the Shallows and Sky is simple if you know where all the 5 secrets are, and will require camera changing and water levels being changed to make the star doable. Also, pausing will help sometimes in navigation. Express Elevator Hurry Up is doable, and I got it on the first try. Go to Town for red coins requires us to go to the downtown area, and here is where we question Nintendo's intent for the fixed camera, as swimming through the tunnel unloads the upper town and loads in the downtown. Though, despite the odd camera looking out of bounds, it makes collecting the 8 red coins simple for us. Though once I collected it all, I swam up to the upper town to get more coins for the 100 coin star. This was definitely challenging as I had to work with water levels and limitations with the camera. But I managed to get the 100 coin star and come back for the 8 red coin star. And sadly, the last star quick race through downtown is a no-go since we need the vanishing cap in order to enter the cage where the star is. Next, we head to Snowman's Land and we see the only little bit of footage we used that was filmed by Lackey2 before we fired him. Sadly, we are working without him, so time to suffer. For Snowman's big head, I can jump up the slope and dive over the fence to skip going around. And while I tried walking alongside the penguin to prevent the snowman blowing me off, sadly, the lack of depth perception is my literal downfall. I then just completed Star 3 since I could at least see the star from the starting camera position. But then I came up with a different plan for Star 1. Instead of going the intended way, I could do a long jump and make it to where the igloo is. With some pausing, I can crawl into the igloo, and while I'm sure the star inside the igloo is unobtainable since we need the vanish cap, I came here to talk to the pink Baba buddy to open the cannon outside. I then make my way to the cannon, take aim, fire, and on the first try, I managed to nab Star 1 without the penguin's help. chill with the bully, I had to use pausing to find and read a sign next to the arena where the chill bully is, and thankfully I got star 2, no problem. Whirl from the freezing pond took a while to figure out a way over to the star block, and the solution I found was to read the sign near the chill bully and do a triple jump up the side, jump, and dive onto the ledge where you would normally ride the Cooper shell for the 8 red coins. From here, I used pausing to navigate myself all the way around to the star block and collect star 4, no problem. Shell shredding for red coins took a few attempts and some frustrating moments as I had to collect all 8 red coins, with one of them being underneath the arena where the chill bully is, and the only way to obtain it without dying was to ride on a Koopa shell underneath. And to get the Koopa shell, you had to break the block next to star 4. Thankfully, I go with the same strat to get up to the hillside and navigate myself to the block while collecting 7 out of the 8 red coins. I then ride the Koopa shell using pausing every half a second to get myself back to the area where the chill bully is. And with that, we can get the last red coin or bonk into the sign because why the not? So I do that again and get the last red coin and blindly make my way to the red coin star. And with that, the only 2 stars left is the igloo star, which is a no-go, and the 100 coin star, which I'm not confident in completing since these coins in the igloo cannot be collected without the vanish cap. I mean, maybe I can collect the 100 coins without these, but my patience with this course after the red coin star is thinning, so I moved on to Tiny Huge Island. Definitely one of the most interesting gimmicky courses in this game, but honestly one of my least favorites. Pluck the piranha flower is easy as long as you start in the tiny version of the island. In fact, most of the times I always start in the tiny version of the island, as I can get anywhere on the island, big or small, if I start on the tiny version.
She might not have realized it,
the tip top of the huge island required me to enter the upper warp pipe to the huge island and navigate around the mountain using pausing, which can be tricky as a simple slide off the side will lead to a game over as 2/4 of the course have a death barrier. But with some patience and pausing, I can make it to the block and collect star 2. 5 itty-bitty secrets was admittedly frustrating as it was just so easy to fall off the course when collecting the secret from the cannon, and getting on top of the mountain was a pain in the ass with a severe lack of depth perception. But after pulling off a cool trick, I made it. I just had to press the purple switch and walk on the boxes to the star before they disappear. Another possible, albeit annoying star obtained. As for the rest of the stars, well, I probably could have done the Wiggler star, but I kind of forgot how I got on top of the tiny mountain in the
How the hell does this
place,
barrel not
and the others were
start
too
rolling
frustrating
downhill?
to figure out or to make work, so I gave up on this course. Tall Mountain is honestly one that relies on too much pausing for my liking. And even then, pausing can't always be relied on as I can't see any of the geometry where the red coins are, and trying to jump down to the stars skipping the slide seemed difficult to pull off. Honestly, the only star that I sanely got was jumping on a Shy Guy from above and twirling my way to the lonely mushroom star. And for those who are wondering, can we use Yukiki to steal Mario's cap to change the camera position? Sadly, no. Thankfully, getting a game over without saving will return my cap back. As lazy as I'm possibly making this scene, I only got the 1 star and moved on. And at this point, while I had enough stars to access the last 2 courses, I decided to backtrack to the basement to get Mips' 2nd star and do Lethal Lava Land, which some of you may have noticed that I skipped out on. Well, truthfully, I didn't skip out on it. I was just getting really impatient on getting the Bully Star or any of the 2 Volcano Stars to work and failed to get either. Because of that frustration, I skipped out on the course and did Shifting Sandland instead. Now that I am thinking clearly, there's 2 obvious easy stars to obtain here. The 8 red coin star on the quote-unquote puzzle, and I can easily use the wing cap to fly myself around the cage and log and use a posit so I know when to turn and to get myself to the red hot log rolling star. Now, I tried defeating the bully earlier in this run, but failed due to the bad depth perception with the camera position being at the start of the course. However, what if I chose not to be incompetent for once and make it easier on myself?
Put a cork in it, everyone.
First, I collect the 8 red coins. This This will give me the closest camera position I can get to the bully, which made knocking him into the lava so much easier. With the first star collected, I wondered, could I do the same thing again with the bully star? So I collected the 8 red coins again, which gave me the better camera position to fight the first big bully,
gets you, man.
knock him into the lava to change the camera position to give me a better view of the 3 bullies that I can reach, thanks to a platform going between the 2 islands. And yeah, by going after the other 2 stars first, I can boil the 3 bullies, then boil 1 more big bully to get myself the 2nd star. So, there you go. All 4 stars outside of the volcano are possible with a fixed camera by a human player. As for inside, well, the platforms are blocking my view and I could only get close to 1 star, but could never get it. These stars are definitely plausible, but hey, at least I got more than half in this course. Another course that's been on the back of my mind recently is Jolly Roger Bay. If you remember, I was able to collect the Stone Pillar Star and the Sunken Ship Star and nothing else. Well, I decided to come back and see if I could do more than just that. First, after opening the star block near the pillars, I used this camera position to get the middle cap, which I didn't have activated when I first did this course, and use it to collect through the jet stream star. Next, we collect the 8 red coins, change the camera position to the pillar star to get a good view of the red coin at the bottom of the course. Then we collect the coins on the ship, and there we go. 8 red coins complete. Now, surely the star on the eel's tail, the chest in the cave, and the 100 coin star in a course infamous for having only 104 coins is impossible for a human player, right? Well, let's find out. For starters, we collect every single coin and red coin we can reach before swimming downward. After getting the camera to the Stone Pillar Star, we collect the last red coin at the very bottom, giving us a camera position down below. We collect the coins and enter the cave. Now, sadly, both the cave and outside are one whole map, so the outside area does not unload. However, just inside the cave is a sign, and while I have no way of seeing it, we just kick around with the B button and the hopes of reading the sign. Thankfully, after only a minute of kicking around, I managed to read the sign. And now, we just have to read the sign over and over again until the camera is positioned behind the sign in just the right way inside the cave. From here, we collect the blue coins, as missing a single blue coin makes the 100 coin star impossible to collect. Then we just murder some Goombas and collect the 100 coins deeper in the cave. With the 100 coin star collected, we now have a better view of the chest, and there's a side here to give us a closer camera position. So, by breaking the Stone Pillar Star block first, we can collect the 8th red coin second, collect the 100 coin third, and summon our 4th star to complete the treasure of the Ocean Cave Star. Not gonna lie, collecting both the 100 coin star and the chest stars in this course was one of the most satisfying achievements I have ever made in this run. An achievement that I thought was gonna be impossible before, and with that, we just have 1 more star to collect. So we collect the last red coin down below to give us a better camera position of the eel. The best way to collect the star from the eel is to wait underneath him and swim up at just the right time. Sadly, I got hit, and while I tried to get the star, of course. But on attempt 2, I managed to get the eel star, and there you go. We have collected all of the stars in Jolly Roger Bay with a fixed camera. Definitely a highlight of this run, since most of the stars were one big puzzle of changing the camera position around to get a good view of what we were collecting. Definitely another course I recommend trying this run in. With only 6 stars left to collect, we collect the 3rd Toad Star secret and do Tick-Tock Clock. Definitely an infamous level for its tricky platforming and annoying invisible walls. Without a doubt, the easiest star to collect is the time stop for red coins, and I mostly play the game normally to collect the get a hand and roll into the cage stars. And the pin and the pendulum star, I did a wall kick from just above the roll into the cage star, and with careful walking, as pausing sadly only dims the screen, I collected the star, no problem. The remaining 2 stars, however, while I'm sure I could collect at least the time jumps on moving bar star with enough patience, the problem with this course is that the further you are away from the camera, the harder it is to see because of the fog effect. On top of poor depth perception, we have a visual limitation. If there is anyone who can collect the Stomp on the Thwomp star at the very top, or even get the 100 coin stars with a fixed camera without save state in, I would love to see that. But since I have 69 stars, nice, I wanted to see if I can at least get one more star from the final course, Rainbow Ride. Now the secret course, Wayne Mario over the Rainbow, yeah, this star's not happening. While we could change the camera positions thanks to 2 different cannons, this is going to be a hard course to navigate, and falling to the bottom will spawn us outside of the castle, making retry super annoying. So I just went with the Rainbow Ride course, unconfident I'd be able to collect a star, but thankfully the star and camera position is just a little above the spinning platforms, and with pausing, I can make the red coins amass in the maze possible. I tried seeing if I could get close to the Swinging in the Breeze or the Tricky Triangle star, and while definitely possible, the platforms are blocked from view, and pausing does kind of help, but not really, as missing platforms is too likely to happen. I then attempt to do the Big House in the Sky Star, expected this to be a no-go since there's a flamethrower inside that can make me fall off the carpet. However, once I reach inside the house, despite keeping that R button taped down, the game cheats the run for me as the camera position changes inside the house and changes again when leaving it. The last platform was blocked out of view for me, but thankfully pausing helped as I got back onto the carpet, got another camera position change inside the house, and one more camera position change at the rooftop. So this star was an easy grab. I tried going for the ship star, but with the bad depth perception, tight platforms, and a carpet that expired before I could even make a full circle around the spinning platform, I gave up on the star. But since I have 71 stars, that's more than enough to beat this game. We go up the stairs and reach Bowser in the sky. And if you thought navigating Bowser in the Fire Sea was hard because we had to pause every second, oh boy, this course provided a bigger challenge to navigate, and it's extremely frustrating when you fail after making great progress. Once again, I'm not bothered with the red coins and focus on just getting to Gay Bowser. But geez, this course was more infuriating to navigate than it needed to be. Because of that, I will admit I do later use save states to get through this course. Yeah, I know it's cheating, but trust me, this is not an easy course to complete with a fixed camera. The first hardest part is getting to the other side of the first spinning platform. The second hardest part is getting past the pole where the mystery Goomba should have spawned but doesn't, as I have no good way of knowing if I got the right angle to grab onto the pole. It was at this moment that I knew that save states were necessary. And the third hardest part was getting past the 2 rotating platforms, which required some pausing to get past. Thankfully, some platforms are easy to navigate since Mario's shadow can be seen from underneath some of the platforms you're on. Not most, but some. Eventually, I get past the gust of wind, and here is the most annoying part. Trying to blindly find my way to the warp pipe as it is always off screen when I pause. Thankfully, I got it to the warp pipe, no problem, and here is where I will only save state at the start of the Gay Bowser fight instead of during, as I want to defeat the Gay Koopa in one shot with a fixed camera. And oh boy, if it wasn't evident by the platforms breaking apart, the rainbow color on Gay Bowser, and the badass organ music playing in the background, Gay Bowser is done f***ing around and wants to make sure we never get some heterosexual cake. I lost count how many times I died in this fight, as the fixed camera angle made timing my throws off. Thankfully, since the camera is in the middle of the arena, it is possible to see all 5 bombs, and we only need to throw Gay Bowser into 3. And this is harder than it looks, because in a normal run, you can change the camera angle from left to right as you align your throws right, something we don't have much of unless the bomb is straight ahead of us, and there's even times when Gay Bowser would be exactly where the camera is, giving us a pretty disoriented view inside of him. Hey, look, Nintendo, I know some fans want to go inside of Gay Bowser's body, but there's gotta be a better experience of seeing what's inside of Gay Bowser's body. But after 20 minutes of reloading the save state and trying to beat Gay Bowser in one shot, I threw him straight into the first bomb and the second bomb. I do a long throw into the third as I tell him, "So long, Gay Bowser."
I hope this is worth it. Because I am leveling up a dude here that I'm
With the
likely never
princess
ever
saved,
gonna
she
be
gives her
using any
clearly
further.
platonic kiss,
Beyond
a toad who forgot to
getting 9
animate, the
stars at
credits
the
roll,
Abyss.
and
I'm
Mario
certainly
gets his not-so-gay cake. And there you go. You can beat Super Mario 64 with a fixed camera. Not gonna lie, despite some tedious moments, this was a really fun challenge to play. I had to combine both my knowledge of the game while utilizing camera position change opportunities, making it a unique puzzle. I definitely recommend trying this run out for yourself if you are a big veteran player of Super Mario 64. For a game that's been played and dissected to death, this was a really nice way to replay one of my favorite childhood games of all time. I could totally understand if you give up on trying to find that one sign in Dire Dire Docks or trying to complete the second or third Bowser courses, but honestly, this was a unique challenge and one that I knew was possible, but wanted to make it possible while getting all the Star Door requirements without glitches. There's no doubt that
believe how
more
much
stars
I've
are
learned.
possible to collect in this challenge, but knowing that I can't get all 120 anyway, I'm happy to leave the challenge as is. If you want to see the other stars be made possible with a fixed camera, try this run yourself. And if you enjoyed this run, be sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe, and ding the bell for more Nitsa Gamer content. If you would like to check out other challenge runs, be sure to check out my Zelda challenge run of Majora's Mask, where I beat the game without rupees or item drops, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne without using skills, Persona 4 Golden without taking damage, and Sonic Adventure 2 without collecting reins. And thank you so much to my channel members, including FurDC25. If you would like to have your name at the end of an Nitsa Gamer video, be sure to become a channel member today. There's more from Nitsa Gamer to come, and that content may include Super Mario. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta answer to the bad reviews and consider using a steady cam from now on.
Damn, look how cracked this fucking artifact is. Crit rate is good, I suppose. That's annoying.
Looks like I've learned a thing or two.
Yeah, you've somehow managed to bring in a violin accompaniment alongside your harp.
This book I bet one of the puffins took it. I need you to head back into the woods. If you find it...
I guess they just repeat from here on. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, nothing else left for me to do.